Hey, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Look, guys, I know how we're all feeling. Don't worry. Do not worry, guys. I know how we're all feeling tonight. I know everybody's feeling a little upset, a little depressed over these results. Just relax, all right? I'm going to lower your cortisol levels tonight. We cannot have you crashing out with a cortisol spike tonight. Maintain your calm, ladies and gentlemen. American patriots, anti-establishment, anti-corrupt government Americans listening to this message, hold your horses. Do not crash out over the loss in Kentucky tonight. I know it's bad news. I know everything it represents. I understand the frustration. I understand, and rightfully so, why you're upset. But do not allow this to spike your cortisol. Now, here's what we're going to do tonight. I'm really just going to take phone calls. Forget about the news. Not going to do any news. We're going to take calls as long as we need to. I don't know how long we'll be here. We're probably going to bring in DMT for some co-host duties. I know he's got some thoughts on tonight's developments. But I'm going to explain coming up here shortly why I'm urging you to just relax. Do not let this black pill you. Do not let this ruin your night. Do not let this turn you into somebody that's wallowing in depression. Just don't have the cortisol spike. Just trust me on this. Just trust me on this. It's bad. It represents exactly what we know it represents. Guys, for your own health, just let it go. Just let it go. There's nothing new. We all knew how corrupt politics is, not was, is. We all know how the foreign interests, the foreign lobbyists, and the donor class owns our country. We're not sovereign. This is all confirmation. Tonight's results, it's okay. We all know MAGA is totally brainwashed. We all know MAGA has turned into everything it once stood against. We all know MAGA is a total brainwash cult. It's okay. This is total confirmation of everything that you have been feeling for the last year. There's nothing new here. It's okay. So just take a deep breath. What's new? The foreign lobbyists own our country. The donor class owns our country. You already knew this, guys. You already knew this. Believe me, I am right there with you. I know what this election in Kentucky represents. I know what the ousting of Thomas Massie represents. I know it. You know it. Everybody knows it. And that's the good news. There has never been a better example that the foreign lobbyists and the donor class own our country than tonight. There has never been a better example of how MAGA has turned into everything it once stood against than tonight and the next couple hours on social media. So I would just soak it in. Don't let this ruin your night. It sucks. Our country is totally corrupt. They just got rid of the most conservative member of Congress, and on and on and on. I know it, just like you know it. But at the end of the day, guys, it doesn't change anything. And if we're really trying to measure this for long-term success, there's never been a better example for Americans to see than what we just witnessed in Kentucky. Now, I'm going to get into all of the details. I hope Thomas Massie enjoys his time off. And, maybe this catapults him into a 2028 presidential run. So we're going to get into all the details. I'm just urging you for your own health, as I've been warning you since last week, do not let the results of this election get you down. You knew it was coming. We all know how corrupt our government is. We all know how corrupt our elections are. We all know how the foreign lobbyists and the donors own our country. We have no sovereignty from these individuals. This is all totally confirmed with tonight's result. And there might be some twists and turns to this whole Kentucky election before it's all said and done. Do not take their bait, folks. Do not take their bait. You have to understand what MAGA has turned into, and they now want to see you suffer. They want to see America suffer. They want to see Americans suffer. They are in a cheerleading cult. Don't give them the pleasure. Let this roll off your back. They're the ones that look bad. Don't steal their thunder. Let them celebrate how they've totally sold out. Let them celebrate how the foreign interests and the donor class own our country and they support it now. Let them have their moment, guys. Don't disrupt their moment. Let them brag about this. Let them brag about how they're totally sold out. Let them brag about how they're just as brainwashed as liberals are. Let them brag that they have no problem with the donor class owning our country. Let them own this moment. Do not crash into this moment and steal their thunder. Let them have it. Let them have it. I'll explain this logic. I'll get into the details. But this is just advice. This is just advice for your own mental health and for the future of the political discussion. Do not disrupt their moment. I know it sucks. I know it's a reminder of what we already knew, that we don't have any sovereignty. The donor class, the foreign interest, run our government, run our Congress. You already knew that. You already knew that. Let MAGA expose itself. Don't steal their thunder. If they want to brag about how they just unseated the lone conservative in Congress, let them have it. If they want to brag about how they're now globalists, let them be globalists. If they want to brag about now how they just do what they're told by the donor class and the foreign interests, let them have it. Let them have it, folks. We weren't getting anything with Trump anyway, so let them have it. Just let them have it. Just trust me. Just let them have it. I know we're all upset. I know what this represents, but it's nothing new. Let them have it. If MAGA wants to own this moment, if MAGA now wants to own this moment that they are now globalists, if MAGA wants to own this moment that they are now political cucks, if MAGA wants to own this moment that they're now bought and paid for by the same special and foreign interests that our entire government has been corrupted by, let them have it, guys. Let them have it. Just let them have it. Trust me. It's not worth it, guys. It's not worth the cortisol spike. And it's not worth crashing out in this moment when MAGA is about to embarrass themselves to levels of which you've never seen before. Now, you might disagree, and we will open up phone lines. But I'm going to get a little deeper into this before we open up the phone lines and get into what happened that led to tonight's result. But just for your own mental sanity and mental health, and quite frankly, for the future of these political movements, it's not worth it tonight, guys. It's not worth it. We all know what happened. Everybody knows what happened. Let them own it. Just let them own it. You may disagree. That's fine. We'll take calls. Maybe you like Ed Gallerin. Maybe you like AIPAC. Maybe you like our country being owned by foreign interests. Make your case. We can do that too. But even though what this represents as bad as it gets, tonight is not as bad as it seems. What it represents is as bad as it gets. We no longer have a sovereign country. Our Congress is totally bought and paid for. It's all special interests, foreign interests, the donor class. They run the country, whether it's the president or a small race in Kentucky. They own everything. This moment needed to happen, guys. Unfortunately, I didn't want it. You didn't want it. But this moment had to happen. And now the country can see what MAGA is. And now the country can see, more obvious than ever, how our congressmen get elected and who funds them. So it sucks in the short term. It sucks in the immediate aftermath of these results. Long term, this had to happen, guys. There are many people that were watching this race and are correctly identifying exactly what happened. And now they're more awake and more aware than ever of how our Congress is owned by foreign interests on both sides of the aisle. So it sucks we lose one of the best in Congress. It's not worth it. Let MAGA have it, guys. Let them have it. Just let them have it. They're embarrassing themselves. They're exposing themselves. It's not worth it. Just let them have it. All right? Calls coming up. I'll get into the details of what led to all of this. Folks, tonight's broadcast is brought to you by Cove Pure Water Filtration Systems. Everybody I talk to that has purchased a Cove Pure Water Filtration System loves it. Loves it. They're raving about how much they love it, in fact. And you can go to covepure.com/Owen right now and find out why. Now, everybody knows you got all these toxic chemicals in the water. In fact, another total betrayal of the Trump administration. They're actually deciding now, despite what MAGA and what RFK Jr. wanted, they're going to keep having atrazine and other chemicals in the water. You don't want to drink that. I don't know why the Trump administration wants to poison you, but they do. You don't want to drink that water. So don't. So get yourself a Cove Pure Water Filtration System. Now, what is the biggest difference? Lots of water filtration systems out there. Why does Cove Pure separate themselves from the rest? Why do I say the Cove Pure Water Filtration System is from the future? Well, if you want to talk about the actual water, not only does the Cove Pure Water Filtration System get rid of 99.9% of toxins and contaminants, it also realkalizes the water before you drink it. Incredible. The Cove Pure Water Filtration System, with one push of the button, can give you scalding hot water. And with one push of another button, ice cold water seconds later. No other water filtration system can do that. For my audience right now at covepure.com/Owen, you can get $250 off your water filtration system. You heard that right. For my listening audience at covepure.com/Owen, $250 off your water filtration system for a limited time at covepure.com/Owen.
Turn my feet to one.
On the cutting edge of news and analysis, the Owen Report with Owen Schroyer.
So Thomas Massey is speaking right now. He's got a smile on his face. I'm telling you guys, I know, believe me, I know. I know what this result tonight represents, just like you guys do. And I know how depressing it can feel. This was supposed to be our time. I mean, this was supposed to be the American patriot time. This was supposed to be the anti-establishment time. This was supposed to be ending the globalist agenda in the United States government, ending the foreign interest running our government. This was supposed to be our time to do all of it. That was the promise of Trump. He's totally betrayed you, and MAGA's gone along for the ride. And so this is just total confirmation now. This is now the watershed moment where most people may be sitting on the fence, maybe neutral, maybe not really sure what to make of all of the craziness. Well, watching what just happened in Kentucky And watching the response of MAGA, it totally exposes the whole thing. Now, here's what's amazing. I don't know. Maybe we should even go to Thomas Massie, who is speaking right now, if we can catch it in time. Let's see if we can do that. And I'm gonna break down all of the stuff that we witnessed tonight in the last couple of days. We're gonna bring in producer DMT, and we're gonna take phone calls. Let me see if we can't catch some of this Massie speech before he's done.
I see.
Thomas
By
Massie,
the way,
having conceded his race to his Trump-backed opponent there in Kentucky's 4th district in the Cincinnati suburb, very conservative district, where he is bringing to a close his career in Congress. Michael Schnell there covering for us. I want to bring in Senator Elizabeth Warren, Democrat of Massachusetts, who's joining me now and surveying all of this. What do you think about this fundamental dynamic that we now have?
It's Kentucky Congressman Thomas Massie thanking supporters, conceding to his Trump-backed primary challenger. Over the weekend, it was Louisiana Senator Bill Cassidy who lost to an opponent backed by the president. Next week, the president's hoping to defeat Texas Republican Senator John Cornyn. Tonight in Georgia, though, there's a Republican senator.
All right, nobody wants to carry Massie's speech. They all cut away. Maybe we can find another live stream here.
Carolyn. Her parents knew what they were doing when they named her. Her middle name is Grace. And but she's a fighter. I mean, she's been tweeted at twice by the chief executive of the most powerful country in the world. She blames me for that because I didn't invite him to the wedding. But also, she voted this morning, and she came out and she said, well, that was a wild experience. That was great. I never imagined that would happen. And I said, what happened? She said, I got to vote for my husband and my favorite congressman. I said, that's practically a throuple. In all seriousness, walking out here and seeing all of you has really energized me. And it has all along. But why am I hopeful right now? Because if you looked at the crosstab in the polling, and I'm sure if we had exit polling, it would show the same thing. We have the younger demographic. We You are patriots, and you will inherit this country, and you will make it better. And I am hopeful because of that. Thank you. We accidentally, I think, I accidentally, didn't mean to do this. It started out as an election, and it turned into a movement. I mean, I think people, if you're not tired of politics, if you're not jaded, if you're not cynical, and so many people are, the people that want somebody that'll go along to get along. I've never heard of that strategy, but that seems to be what the voters want. That's what's been promised to them, but not the young voters. I mean, we stirred up something. There is a yearning in this country for somebody who will vote for principles over party. You all don't like bullies and you don't tolerate them, and I love you for it. You also, yeah. They couldn't listen. Hey. If I'd known this speech was going to be this fun to give, I would have come out 15 minutes sooner. Look, for 14 years, those SOBs in Washington tried to buy my vote. They couldn't buy it. Why did the race get so expensive? Because they decided to buy the seat. And it got real expensive for them. Look, they used a lot of dirty tricks, but we stayed the course. We didn't bend a knee. We didn't throw a foul ball. We didn't do any of those things. We didn't kneecap anybody. We had lots of opportunities to try a lot of stuff like that, and we never did it. We ran a clean race. Hey, and by the way, after 18 months of a blackout of not letting me on Fox, they finally let me on Fox today, 4 hours into the election. Yeah. Hey, their slop is selling, so they'll keep selling it. But listen, I got to watch Fox also for the first time in 18 months. And there was the president talking about, by the way, while gas is almost $5 and diesel's almost $6, they're talking about this big ballroom they're going to build, and it looks like the Roman Empire, architecture from the Roman Empire. I see a few analogies there, and people are just trying to make ends meet. But we were promised that Miriam Adelson would pay for that ballroom, but she spent so much money in this race, they're going to have to reduce the footprint of that thing. But here's one thing I saw on Fox. They were saying, oh my goodness, we're ready for war. We're about to restart this war. We were supposed to restart this war today, but we can't restart this war today. The war can't start today. They said we got to wait a day. And then it occurred to me, where was the Secretary of War yesterday? He was here. Listen. Wait. No, look on the bright side. No more wars. No more wars. No more wars. Guys, knock that off. You're going to make me feel good about losing. What I wanted to do was give you all credit. When they saw the influencers here, they panicked. They sent the Secretary of War here, and you stopped the war for a day. All right. We know we don't want a war, and we know why young people and middle-aged people are against the next war, because we'd be the ones fighting it. They're trying to bring back the draft. Screw that. We're not going to fight. We're not going to fight some other country's wars, are we? No. What else do we stand for? We don't want to send our money overseas. Okay, I'll go for that. I've got a bill to do that. I've also got a bill to end the Department of Education. Rand Paul says he wants to pass a law that you need one day to read 10 pages of every bill. I asked Rand, what are you going to do about my bill that's one sentence long to end the Department of Education? That'd be like 5 minutes to read that bill. By the way, do you know how many pages the Epstein Files Transparency Act was? 2 pages. We don't want, we're tired of meddling overseas. We can't afford it. Our empire will collapse if we keep sending our money to other countries. I never picked a fight with the country that's tried to take me out here because I've never voted for foreign aid to any country. We got to take care of America first. America first. America first. America first. America first. America first. By the way, you remember that organization that Klaus Schwab started called the World Economic Forum? They said you should eat bugs. Do you want to eat bugs? They said you'll own nothing and be happy about it. You want to do that? Well, guess what happened? Guess what happened to Klaus's CEO? He was in the Epstein files. He had to resign. We took out the CEO of the World Economic Forum with a 2-page bill. What else are we for? Look, for years I've been standing up for the Second Amendment, the First Amendment, the Fourth Amendment, the Fifth Amendment, the 10th Amendment. I just realized the Seventh Amendment is under attack. It's because I serve on the Judiciary Committee. The Seventh Amendment is your right to a jury trial. They've taken it away for vaccines. If you get hurt, you can't sue for vaccines. They're trying to take it away for pesticides. They're trying to take it away for these data centers. No. We've been fighting that back. So that's an amendment that, frankly, I didn't think I was going to have to fight for, but I've been fighting for it in DC, and we need to keep fighting for the Seventh Amendment too. These corporations want get out of court free cards. We're not going to give them one. What else is part of our coalition? Cutting DOGE, cutting spending. They ran DOGE out of town. Elon Musk found out it was easier to land a rocket backwards. It was easier to get a car to drive itself. It was easier to put internet on Antarctica than it was to cut $100 of spending in Washington, D.C. It's a tough problem, but we're not going to give up on that either. MAGA. Is anybody here for MAGA? Does anybody want to eat poison? Do you want the government telling you what to eat? Do you want the government telling you to put a needle in your arm? I don't either. That's why I've been fighting all of that stuff. We need food freedom. We need medical freedom. We need all of those freedoms. And we need basic decency. We need basic decency. That's what the Epstein Files Transparency Act was all about. By the way, today is the 6-month anniversary of the Epstein Files Transparency Act. We've taken out 24 CEOs, an ambassador, a prince, a prime minister, a minister of culture. And that was just 6 months. I got 7 months left in Congress. Hey, when did bipartisanship become a dirty word in this country? It never should be. By the way, I'm not even sure that I'm bipartisan. Bi means you like both. I might be transpartisan because I can't identify with either some days. That's the great thing about the polls being closed. They can't run an ad where I claim to be trans. Transpartisan, thank you very much. I don't know which cloakroom to go in. So, but look, if you know, I bet you've been through, some of you studied political science. By the way, that's not a real science. I'm a political science denier. If you're already halfway through that degree, double major in theater and call it political theater. Then you can serve on the oversight committee, the judiciary committee. You can be on the whip team. What's the difference between a used car salesman and a member of the whip team? The used car salesman knows when he's lying. They go around telling everybody, oh, that good stuff's in the bill. Oh, that bad stuff's not in the bill. I don't blame them. They haven't read the bill. They're not lying. They don't know they're lying. Anyways, bipartisanship, we need to bring this country together. It is not, there's too much of the uniparty in Washington, D.C. What we need is a unity party. Look, we ran a race that you can be proud of. You have to apologize to nobody tomorrow for anything you did. And we kept smiling the whole time. When I was called a moron at the prayer breakfast, I said, I'm glad I'm in his prayers. That would be my advice to you all. Don't dig in, don't get mad. Don't even try to get even. Just stay on your course. Get our stuff done. Get the things you care about done. We weren't really running against Ed Galrine. We weren't running against Donald Trump. We were running for what we believe in. Listen, if you always vote with the president, if the legislative branch always votes with the president, we do have a king. If the legislative branch always votes whichever way the wind is blowing, then we have mob rule. But if the legislative branch and the representatives and the senators that serve with it always follow the Constitution, we have a republic. USA. Why are all the loud ones in the front? I could have heard you in the back. Listen, I want to leave you with this. Oh, wait. I want to have a toast. Does anybody have their glasses? If you don't, I saw a few glasses. Okay. This is the one scandal. This is the one scandal they never figured out on me. I get my milk from the Amish cartel. And I don't pay for it with Federal Reserve notes. I trade peaches for dairy. And what I want to do is this is a toast in honor of my late wife. I introduced a raw milk bill, and the milk lobby came after me viciously. They said there wouldn't be enough hospitals for all the kids that would be sick and dying if we had raw milk. The problem with that is it's already legal in a bunch of states, and I've been drinking it for years. So my late wife's Google alerts were going off. she was getting all this bad press about me up there in Washington, D.C., and she was worried for me. And I've got a pretty thick skin, but she texted me one of those stories and she said, OMG, I didn't realize the lactose lobby was so intolerant. So let's have a drink. I decided before today that we were going to win or lose today, and we would win either way, whether because not again. You know, when I try to tell my grandson to be quiet tonight, he is not going to listen. He'd probably be saying, Massey, Massey. Here's what I want to leave you with. We won. We won because we started a movement. We showed people that if you're under 50, you want to save this country. But what happened today was God's will. It couldn't happen if God didn't want it to. So our job, and I'm not going to make any announcements tonight. I'm going to go back, have me a medical margarita. I'll hang out and party with you all. You know, I don't drink recreationally. I have medical margaritas. I even have a medical margarita card. But what happened today, what happened tonight was God's will. And we have to figure out what was the purpose of having the biggest fight ever. Biggest fight ever. Why did it converge on one of 435 congressional seats right here in Kentucky? What was God's purpose? What is he showing us tonight? We're just getting started. I like that. What happens in 2028? You want me to run for Congress again? I don't know what you're talking about. All right, well, you made a compelling argument. You spoke your piece, but I need a medical margarita right now. And we'll talk about it later. Thank you and God bless.
I told you guys. I told you, don't get depressed over this. Don't let this spike your cortisol. Accept it. Embrace it for what it is. Thomas Massie has the right energy tonight. Thomas Massie has the right energy tonight. All right, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to do my little spiel here. I'm going to do my little monologue on everything we've witnessed in maybe the last couple days or couple hours leading up to this election result. We're going to bring in producer DMT, get a little co-hosting duties on a late Owen report tonight. And then we'll open phone lines and take calls for about an hour is what we're going to do. So if you're just joining us, as I was explaining at the top of the transmission, and I think you just saw the same attitude from Thomas Massey at his speech. We all know what just happened, guys. It's okay. We all know what this election result represents. There's no Republican Party. There's no conservative movement. The donor class and the foreign lobbyists, they own our government. And the Trump administration has nothing to offer American patriots anymore. And all of the MAGA people that support this, guys, let them have it. Just let them have it. They're only embarrassing themselves. They're running around eating a turd sandwich, bragging about it, and everybody can see the sloppy turds and the shit falling out of their mouth and smearing all over their face and clothes. They're covered in shit. Let them have it. Let them dance around covered in shit. Let them own it. Don't roll around in the shit with them. Smile and wave. Accept this is what it is. Because I think Massey understands. And that's why I think he's receiving this news tonight with a jovial attitude and a smile on his face. For the same reason I told you, don't let this get you depressed. Nothing changes here, guys. Nothing changes here. This is a Pyrrhic victory for MAGA. This is a Pyrrhic victory for the globalists that now run MAGA. MAGA is now full-on globalists. MAGA is now, the Republican Party is now 100% run by the foreign interest. 100%. Everybody sees it now. So let MAGA eat shit. Let them run around smearing shit all over one another, shoving it in their mouth, chewing on it, telling everybody how great it tastes, and just laugh and let them have it. It's not worth it, guys. Trust me. MAGA is embarrassing themselves tonight on a level that you've never seen before. Don't go into the dirt with them. Let them have it. Just let them have it. Let them celebrate it. Don't take away any of the attention. Don't try to distract and say, wait, here's what happened. Wait, it's the foreign interest. Wait, it's the don't even bother. Let them have it, guys. Let MAGA sit at the table with Ed Gallerin and eat a big shit sandwich, and we're all going to sit here and watch them smearing shit all over each other, and that's just what it is. Let them have it, guys. Don't be depressed. There's nothing new. We all knew this. We all knew that MAGA was now co-opted against us. We all knew the Republican Party has been totally bought and paid for by the foreign interests. There's nothing new. And quite frankly, if you want to try to look at the good side of things, this really probably had to happen. Because now many people that might have been sitting on the fence, many people that might have been, supportive of Trump, even maybe identified as MAGA, but, not overly committed, but kind of just watching it all happening and just trying to stay sane in all of it, trying to stay hopeful. Well, they just watched the foreign lobbyists and the donors buy another seat in Congress. And there's no denying it. So let them have it. Let them have it, guys. This season is already cooked. This season, the Trump administration, it's already cooked, guys. Massey wasn't going to save it. And you could argue that Massey's already done as much as he can, getting the Epstein files released, now exposing AIPAC, exposing the Israeli lobby, exposing Donald Trump as not even a conservative at all, as a globalist. So it's a Pyrrhic victory for MAGA. Everything we already knew is now double confirmed. More people can see it than ever. Yes, it sucks. It's another reminder. It's another blatant reminder that we don't have a country. It's another blatant reminder that there is no conservative movement. There is no Republican Party. It's all the donor class and the foreign interests. Now everybody can see it. So let MAGA celebrate. Let MAGA wear the hat of AIPAC. Let MAGA wear the hat that they're against the most conservative members of Congress. Let MAGA run around celebrating, shoving shit all down their faces and mouths and telling you it's filet mignon. Let them have it, guys. I'm telling you, don't crash out. Don't just let them have it. Everybody's going to be watching them. Don't distract. Everybody needs to see this tonight. Everybody needs to see what the White House did tonight. Everybody needs to see what the Republican Party did tonight. Everybody needs to see what shills and sellouts and globalists MAGA have become. Do not disrupt it. Let them have it. Don't disrupt it. Don't distract from it. Let them have it, guys. Just let them have this moment. It's their moment. Let them have it. Now, Here's what's amazing. This is what we've witnessed in the last couple of days and really the last couple of hours leading up to tonight's results. The Trump administration has never been a bigger group of liars ever. And it's so bad that every member of the Trump administration that's been attacking Thomas Massie tonight has been community noted and fact-checked. All the accusations they've made against Thomas Massie, completely false. Completely false. This claim that, Massie is taking Iranian money and foreign money. Okay, they want to make those claims? Let them own it. Let them own it. They want to claim that Massie took like $20,000 from some Iranian. Okay, now do AIPAC. Now do Adelson. $32 million spent on Ed Gallerin. The vast majority of these tens of millions from foreign donors and foreign interests. Oh, but tell me about $10,000 from some Iranian for Massie. Give me a break. These people are pathetic. So they've been lying all day about Massie. The Trump administration has never looked worse. They've never looked like bigger liars in the history of Trump 2.0 or 1.0. It's sad to even watch Stephen Miller engaging in these tactics. But it is what it is. MAGA is now just as bad as the Biden administration. MAGA is now just as corrupt as liberals and progressives and everything that MAGA claims they stand against. MAGA tonight has officially become everything it stands against. MAGA was once against the donor class buying seats. Now they support it. MAGA was once against foreign interests buying seats. Now they're for it. MAGA was supposedly conservative. Conservative as far as foreign policy, conservative as far as fiscal policy. Now they're anything but. MAGA was against no new wars. Now they love no new wars. MAGA was against globalists. Now they are globalists. Every single box that MAGA once stood for, they no longer stand for. They stand for the opposite. And now everybody can see it. I get it. It's depressing. It's another not so subtle reminder that you don't even have a country. The donors control everything. The foreign interests buy seats. It doesn't even mean anything to them. $30 million? Done. We just bought that seat. The average American will never see $30 million in their lives. But some foreign donor can spend $30 million in this race and $20 million in that race and $10 million in that race, and they're not even bothered. They don't even feel the impact. $50 million to buy a bunch of seats, to vote for war and to vote for more money for foreign countries. And they don't even feel it. And the average American will be lucky if they can even make $1 million in their life. Everybody can see this now. It's depressing. It's a tough pill to swallow. But that's what it is. So I say let him have it. The things that Massie can and did stand for, there wasn't much left he could do. And it'll be funny to watch all of these people complain. They say, oh, you want Democrats to win. Oh, you're going to give it to Democrats. Okay. The irony, of course, is that you guys, MAGA, Trump, now you guys are so unpopular and so sold out. You guys are the ones that are going to give it to Democrats. And eventually this realization is going to happen. Eventually you're going to realize what you've done. And we're just going to sit here and laugh and smile because that's where you've put us. You've put us into the gallows. So now we have gallows humor. Enjoy your globalism, MAGA. And at the end of the day, look, all jokes aside, forget about tonight's election. And I'm being dead serious now. This is where it's going to get really hard for MAGA really soon. You just ask. I'm asking this genuinely. This isn't a gotcha thing, like just as an American that cares about this country, and supposedly you guys do too. This is coming from a place of sincerity. I'm genuinely asking. what do you guys stand for anymore? What is MAGA accomplishing? What do you stand for? What are you accomplishing? I'm genuinely curious. No new wars? You don't care about that. Doge? You don't care about that. Mass deportations? You don't care about that. Deep state arrests? You don't care about that. In fact, it's so bad, MAGA goes harder after Thomas Massie than any Democrat criminals, any Biden crime family criminals, any deep state criminals. MAGA attacked Thomas Massie harder than any Epstein pedophile. So what do you guys stand for? What do you guys stand for? Nothing's changing. The country's not getting any better. There's no positive result for the American people here. So what do you guys stand for? So I say own it. Own your shit sandwich. Own your shit mountain. I want nothing to do with it. If you guys want to climb on your shit mountain and eat your shit sandwiches and run around bragging about it, how cooler you are and how more influential and access and everything else that you get, have a great time. You guys are accomplishing nothing. You have nothing to stand on. Well, we got a secure border. Oh, do you lock your house at night? Hey, guys, I locked my house tonight. Hey, guys, I locked my windows. Hey, guys, I closed my garage door. Wow, give me a round of applause. Can you believe that? Guys, I locked my house tonight. Yeah, that's all you have. Yeah, we got a secure border. So what? You lock your doors at night. There's nothing to celebrate there. That should be standard. You guys are literally appeased now by the bottom line. Other than that, nothing's changed. Trump is a total globalist. More wars, more foreign interests, more foreign donors, no deep state arrests, no massive reform of government. You guys don't care. You're running around climbing shit mountain, eating shit sandwiches, bragging about how great it is. You look like idiots. You look like an ass because you're covered in shit. So I say let him have it, guys. Don't distract. Let him have it. Let him own it. MAGA's never been more exposed as total sellouts. It's tragic. President Trump, the administration, never been exposed as total sellouts. MAGA, totally brainwashed. And let's just see. Oh, congratulations. You guys got rid of Massie. Wow. The #1 liberty score, the #1 conservative score, the last conservative in Congress. Congratulations. You got another deep state puppet. You got another donor puppet. You got another foreign country puppet. Way to go, MAGA. Yeah, what do you stand for? Nobody knows, not even you. It's a total Trump cult. Let him have it. But Massie gets it. That's why he was smiling. Finally, we have a movement. Actually, finally, we have a movement. So this is actually the start of a new movement. That's what tonight represents. This is the start of the new movement. MAGA, totally co-opted by the globalists. MAGA, totally co-opted by the donor class. Trump's totally sold you out. I can't wait. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. I'd love to be wrong on all of this, but it hasn't happened yet. Now we finally have a movement, folks. This is the beginning of the next movement. And yeah, we're going to take some big losses and some more black eyes and some more punch to the gut and some more kicks to the balls. But now this is the beginning of the new movement. Now everybody sees what MAGA has become. Now everybody sees that we've been sold out by this administration. Now everybody sees that the bootlickers that cheer for it all are not standing on anything other than whatever cult is willing to embrace them. Tonight starts a new movement. Principled Americans that care about the country, stand for and on what they believe in. And unfortunately, Thomas Massie was one of the last in Congress, and the foreign interests and MAGA got rid of him. But now the new movement starts. The true America First movement can begin now. The full separation of the MAGA globalists from the American patriots can start now. I say it's a good thing. Your government was already corrupt. Your Congress was already owned by the foreign interests and the donor class. Trump already sold you out. Nothing changes, except now that we've seen it, we can start our movement. So the true America Patriot First movement starts now. And there'll be liberals and Democrats, and there'll be conservatives and Republicans and libertarians and anti-establishment folks. Everybody will join this movement because we're all sick of the corruption in D.C. We're all sick of the establishment bootlickers on the left and the right. We're sick of the donors buying our government and destroying our country. And it's never been more obvious than what we witnessed tonight. All right. I see Dominic Michael Trippi here. Producer DMT is he's about to chomp into his microphone. He's about to start eating his microphone if I don't bring him on soon. So co-hosting tonight, producer DMT. All right, there you go. There's the results. Have at it.
I mean, in response to what you just said, and I don't mean to be rude, but there is no movement and people are not sick of it. You're telling people, oh, just accept it. You're giving it what they want. We're exposing them. Exposing people and people waking up means nothing with an apathetic society that does nothing about any injustices that are bestowed upon it. You're sitting here, basically, there's no direction, there's no plan, there's no actual opposition to Donald Trump or to any of this direction of the establishment right now. And you just saw Thomas Massie essentially get completely crushed when people are claiming that public sentiments are changing and that people are waking up to these facts that are keeping many Americans, feeling like we are being held hostage by foreign interests, by Israel, by whoever you want to blame. And it just seems to me, we're talking about the future. I want to give some people some facts, and I don't mean to be super blackpilling, but not enough people actually talk about actual statistics and why we are where we are. Did you know that over 56% of the U.S. electorate is over 50 years old? And of people that are 65 years old, over 74.7% of people age 65, they cast a ballot in comparison to less than 50% of people that are aged 18 to 24. Many people that share many of these ideological themes that you have, America first, no foreign interest, decoupling from Israel, that is generational. And it's the people that actually vote and the people that actually make up the Republican Party, they are not for those things. And you saw it tonight. And that's the reason why people didn't even know who Ed Galrain was. But simply because the movement is now based on the cult of personality, you got this result. So for people that are wanting to feel hopeful about the future of the direction of the Republican Party or the direction of the Democrat Party for that matter, I mean, the reality of it is you've got 15, 20 years of continuing to deal with who runs the party now. So I don't really think that there's much to be hopeful for. I don't think there's really any direction that isn't exactly what Donald Trump says the Republican Party is. And I think that most of the opposition, although they are definitely popular among people that actually vote, which are old boomers and people that don't really know shit, they're determining who wins. And the truth is even who wins and who doesn't, we're getting a lot of the same results anyways. There has been such a concentrated, moneyed interest. The power has been concentrated so heavily that common people and normal grassroots movements, they don't really seem to stand much of a chance realistically. So we'll see what some of these people do. We'll see what a James Fishback does. We'll see what some of these anti-establishment candidates are doing. But as far as the Republican Party ecosystem, they are rejecting that completely. So I'm not sure what you have to say to, my analysis of the situation, but it seems like this is measured and realistic.
So how does Thomas Massie losing change any of that?
What do you mean?
Everything you just said was true before tonight's election result.
Okay. And so the problem is getting worse. So if it was a sickness, the sickness is progressing and getting worse.
It's the same. It's still the same. I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying. I'm saying nothing changes. Tonight's result does not change anything you just said. If anything, tonight's result amplifies what you just said, spotlights what you just said, and makes
it throws a wet blanket. It throws a wet blanket on this theory that we are ideologically taking over. The America First wing is taking over, winning hearts and minds. of
Well, who's
people of
saying
all
that?
ages. And it's just not true.
Who's saying that? What are you even talking about? I didn't say
People
that.
are saying that. That's been the general theme or gist that, oh, we're changing and we're awakening people. That's people have been saying that for the last.
Hold on a second. Wait a second. Isn't that the conversation that we're having tonight? Isn't that the topic of discussion? How AIPAC and Adelson just bought another seat in Congress? How the top 3 most expensive House races in congressional history are all because of AIPAC money? I mean,
what I'm trying to say is you seem like you believe there's a correlation between people waking up to these facts and people voting a certain way. The margin of victory got worse. This was Thomas Massey's worst showing ever, simultaneously while people are claiming that so many are waking up. My point is it doesn't matter. Because the people that actually make a difference and vote, they don't agree with you. And they're actually doubling down and they're tripling down. That's oftentimes what people do, even when they're ideologically wrong. You could tell someone, a person, one of their family members could be a total piece of shit, complete criminal, have an extensive record, beat women, whatever it might be. But if you try to convince someone in their own family that they're a piece of shit, they're just simply never going to believe it. So there's a level of brainwashing. There is a level of not following logic and only following their emotions that ultimately it doesn't even matter what is true at this point. You're seeing the most blatant lies ever. You're seeing the betrayal of campaign promises like you'd never believe. We're talking about the peace president and a guy that was arguing.
But again, you're talking about the larger picture. This isn't, all of this is happening before Thomas Massey's election loss tonight.
Okay, what I'm trying to say is that you would think that if the temperature was changing or that certain ideologies were winning over, like specifically this America First, get rid of Israeli influence type of thing, you would think it would be getting better, but the results are getting worse.
But keep in mind, as MAGA wants to sit here and celebrate the ousting of Massey, let's keep in mind that Republicans haven't won any elections against Democrats since Trump got elected. So, this doesn't really mean anything for MAGA other than you're just globalists that are owned by foreign lobbying at this point. The Republicans still can't beat Democrats since Trump got elected. So all I'm saying, I'm not disagreeing with you in that this is the general consensus that people are reaching. I'm simply saying that tonight's result, it doesn't necessarily make it worse. We already knew this. Tonight's result just spotlights it and makes it more obvious than ever. So, I mean, I'm not saying it's a positive result on its face. I'm just saying it's never been more obvious how corrupt our elections are and how corrupt our Congress is and why.
I agree that it's never been more obvious, but the troubling thing is that there's no correlation with voting patterns changing among people, specifically in the Republican Party. Look, I can tell you this. If you're a Democrat, it is true. If you look at the polling number, if you look at independents, if you look at people that are anti-war, if you look at people that are under age 50, all of those things are showing that indeed the general public is moving away from those themes that dominate the Republican Party.
So, but doesn't it give you hope?
A night like tonight means that if you're a Democrat, you're happy because obviously a lot of these younger people are probably not going to vote with Republicans moving forward if they're really upset with these issues that are now dominating the conversation. So I'm just saying, like, for the boomers people that are
boomers did this. The boomers did this.
Yeah. But the thing is also, if you just look, 50 is the big age. And of course, there's plenty of people that are America First that are over 50. There's plenty of people that are 70, 80 years old that are as well. But statistically relevant portions of these demographics, by and large, just don't give a fuck. They think like whatever Mark Levin or whatever like outrageous propagandized lie that they could say about you, Tucker Carlson, Candace Fuentes, any of these people, they're just like, yep, he's an anti-Semite, MAGA. That's literally it. So like, I think we give people too much credit. Most of the population is fucking stupid. Realistically, they're probably not even worthy of voting because they can't even manage their own lives. And we just put this system on a pedestal. And in reality, it's designed to make sure that things don't really change that much until you have an executive like Trump that's aligned with corporate interests, aligned with foreign countries to basically just do whatever he wants. So I'm just saying, man, like you've known me for a long, long time. I am pro freedom. I am anti-establishment. I think that people should ultimately be able to determine their own destiny. But when the government impedes on that, and the government is now impeding on the success of millions of people that are younger that can't get ahead in a changing environment, in a world that's decaying, in a world where they're trying to replace human dignity and replace you with AI, it's not working. And the government isn't designed to work for all those people. The government is made up of a shitload of old people. The electorate that actually determines who wins is made up of a shitload of old people, and everybody other than them is losing. And eventually what's going to end up happening, honestly, it's going to be bad, because there won't be as many of those people around, and you're going to see what maybe you might see what happened like in a South Africa, where people that don't have shit take it by force. So, and I'm of course not condoning that, but I'm just saying, if you look and you truly are going to prognosticate the future of the country, we're absolutely headed towards pure socialism and communism on one side, and then people that are, I mean, I guess like, I'm not even sure what you'd categorize the right as an opposition to that, but that's just where we're going. And so, yes, Thomas Massey, you know, I'm a huge fan of him. I'm a E-level Twitter influencer, so like endorsing him doesn't matter, but of course I endorsed him, retweeted all of his stuff, put out information that I thought benefited him. The reality of it is yeah, it's good that if Thomas Massey steps up into some sort of ideological opposition to what we're seeing now, that's great. But unless we're able to actually have an apparatus and wield power, I don't really see where it's going to go other than a feel-good story like every other pretty good candidate has been. It's a feel-good story, and then the establishment comes in and fucking crushes them. And as time goes on, as technology advances, as the government ever so clearly is starting to unify with these AI systems, they're building data centers. What do you think? They're doing that to make your fucking computer faster? No, they're doing that to implement this same surveillance state that they are very open about trying to design and implement. And they're going to make it to where, you know, human freedom is minimalized, and keep this illusion of choice going. So I'm very concerned about the future of freedom in America, and I'm very concerned about any actual great grassroots movements picking up steam moving forward.
All I'm saying is the result of tonight's election doesn't change any of that. If anything, it gives it more attention. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying everything you just mentioned was true before Thomas Massey lost tonight, and it's going to be true whether Thomas Massey won or lost tonight. And I think now, because of what we just witnessed in the days and hours leading up to this election, I think more people are now aware of exactly what you just expressed, or they might be more willing to peek around the corner and figure out, well, how did this happen? And then reach the same conclusion that you reached. So that's all I'm saying. I'm just saying, as depressing as this result might be and everything it represents, large picture, it's not really changing much. If anything, if I'm looking at the larger picture and I'm saying, what are the real world long-term results of this election? It's that more people are going to understand exactly what you just said. Now, that doesn't guarantee any success, to be clear. So if you want to remain black-pilled, then, you know, that is what it is. It doesn't guarantee any success. I just feel like there were so many people watching this that are not as politically passionate as you or I, not as politically informed as you or I, but curious enough to say, well, why is there so much interest in this race? And then they see the results. They see how the results happened. They see who's celebrating it. I think they're going to realize, wow, we just got screwed big time by this administration. So again, I get why the result is not good. Well, everybody here wanted Massey to win. I'm just saying, bigger picture, long term, I think that more people will realize what you just said because of this loss than they would have if Thomas Massey had won. That's what I'm saying.
I agree that in the short term, it's not going to affect anything. It's just confirming things that we already know.
But you knew,
I also think
you
it's
knew that, but not everybody knew that. You knew that. I knew that. Not everybody knew that. Now they might.
Well, here's one other thing, too. I mean, look, obviously Trump's got this major cult of personality, but he's not running next time, and the other people do not have that. So The other thing is political and, not being affiliated with either the left or right is becoming increasingly popular with all demographics. So without the cult of personality from Trump, with independent political theory and support becoming significantly more popular. I mean, think about it. The lines have really been blended. People from both sides of the aisle agree on quite a few different things, depending, not the extreme sides, but many people that are closer to the center. So it's not that I do think that hearts and minds are going in the right direction. I just think as far as like the Republican Party is concerned, I mean, clearly what the boss says goes, according to all relevant data. So that means that there are a lot of people that will just stop identifying as a Republican. And that's probably problematic for a lot of these people, like some, friends that we have that actually work on the Hill on the right side. So, yeah, it's not that I think that all hope is lost forever, but I think that there's a lot of anti-establishment, populist, nationalist leaning people that are looking to attach themselves to a vehicle because they're pretty disappointed.
Now we might have it. Now we might have that vehicle named Thomas Massie. And now that he's not in Congress, he can kind of decide to be that vehicle if he wants, when he's done with his medical margarita sips. Maybe he might.
I loved that. I love that old medical sips line he busted out at the end. And the thing is, look, I mean, who knows? Maybe he can run a more effective campaign and actually maybe be one of the first third-party candidates or whatever that makes a little bit of noise in the race. So, if he was going to try to run for president in 2028, maybe it did need to happen. I'm not so sure that people are ready for that or if he can actually win, but we got to start shaking it up. So whatever he does, I'll be happy to support him. Maybe we can get a medical sip or two as well.
Well, I'm monitoring the chat. People are definitely mixed reviews. DMT is getting a lot of praise for his stance.
People don't like the truth pill. They want to be happy with we're gonna keep fighting.
Well, you know what though? You know what I think it is, and because you produced the show here. I was prepared for this. I was prepared for this. I was warning my audience last night to just brace yourselves because this is probably a very likely scenario. So I think I was just kind of ahead of it mentally. To accept what
you were prepared. Here's the thing. This is pretty notable. This was one of the first, because the betting odds had Thomas Massie as like an 86% favorite less than, a week ago. So this was one of the first where they had a pretty heavy margin and it lost. So when we saw that initial influx of money that caused it to go from 80% Massie to like 60% Galrein, I think that was actually legitimate. And I do want to say too, I do think it's a little bit problematic that people, they got to be receiving privileged information and putting in a lot of pretty big bets on some of these. So definitely think that there needs to be a little bit more regulation around some of this stuff. God forbid, not that much money in a relatively small race that's not getting a lot of attention could absolutely flip a seat or two in the future. I think that, whether it's illegally, whether it's on betting markets, whatever the reason, we got to get money out of politics, dude. We're seeing it happen now. You can't just put $32 million in a primary race. Like, that is not, like, as John Adams said, the Constitution is only for a moral and religious people. So if you want to argue about religious, that's fine. But the Constitution absolutely is only supposed to be for a moral people. And if we have people that are doing this kind of greedy stuff, letting money ruin politics, we can't ever expect to have real sovereignty.
I do think that's the conversation that needs to be had. Aside from the I'm on Massey's side or I'm on Galleron's side or MAGA, all the other noise and buzzwords that we hear. Ultimately, I think that that's the conversation that needs to be had. We just, and I don't know the solution. I'm not claiming I even know the solution, but I think the problem is pretty obvious. The problem is there's too much money in politics. And when foreign interests and foreign donors can, for 3 straight election cycles, have the most expensive House primaries to unseat the very rare individuals in Congress that won't vote for more wars or won't put Israel first, when they can just move in and buy these seats, yeah, that's a serious national security issue. That's a sovereignty issue. And quite frankly, you have neither. You have neither national security or sovereignty when that kind of money can move in and just buy seats in Congress. So I think that is the conversation.
I just want to say one last thing, and that's that the main problem that we have with our system, and it didn't used to be the case, is the people, the legislators, the congressmen that could actually write bills and pass them that would limit or eliminate private money in politics, which is clearly ruining it. Well, they're the main beneficiaries of these same corrupt standards that we now have in place. So that's the problem. And you know, the only thing that I could think of would be something like what Bukele did in El Salvador, where he essentially, right on the spot during like a House meeting or whatever they have there, he basically said, we're doing an on the spot corruption trial. And, you know, now, of course, that would be abused for political purposes if like someone like Trump were to do that now. But if we were to have some sort of arbitrary and actually decent and morally sound sort of board that was doing that, we could fix it. But the problem is you'd ultimately have to suspend the Constitution. You'd have to suspend the way that our governing bodies work in order to actually clear out the just total corrupt filth. So, but that is the truth. The reason why they could easily just fix this overnight, but they're all the people that are also being paid by all these, you know, industries, lobbies, what have you. So we can only hope and pray that that'll be fixed, because they're not just going to wake up out of the goodness of their hearts and say, hey, I want to make less money today.
You know, I'm thinking here before we go to the phone lines, I'm like, all right, what was the worst part of what we just witnessed in the Kentucky 4 primary? Was it the foreign money buying up another congressional seat whenever they see fit? Was it the blatant lies that came out of the Trump administration? I mean, just provable on their face lies. I mean, just crazy lies. Is it the total about face of MAGA that used to be about principled conservatism, no new wars, everything else, and now they just do whatever they call it?
Violating the Hatch Act and having our active defense Secretary of War come in and actively campaign for a congressional opponent in the middle of a war. There are so many things that are wrong about that. Congress is supposed to be there as checks and balances against the executive branch. And what we're seeing right now, look, I mean, you know that I voted for Trump. I'm not someone that's going to sit here and I'm going to own that. I'm going to own that L. And I think that is an L. And I think that it's going to be very difficult for these influencers, for these institutions to continue to try to paint this as a successful administration or as an admirable or noble or well-intended president, when everybody that's not old and fucking retarded seems to really not be liking the direction that the country is going. So it's a shame, man. It really is. There was so much positive momentum and good intentions behind this movement when it started in 2015. And just to see all of these forces that we were supposed to oppose and see Trump opposing, to see him to not only to succumb to them, but also align with them and then throw it in your face constantly. It's the political betrayal of a century, of a generation. And honestly, I don't think the right wing will ever recover from this. And it's really only a matter of time before they lose to whoever, opposes them.
Well, and that's where I was going to go next, because, right now the only opposition is the Democrats. And I'm sure you've seen it. The Democrat rhetoric, they're not leading from the front. They're not the, head marshal here. They're not twirling the, what are those things they twirl in the band, the marching band. They're not shouting it at the top of the mountain that, hey, when we get back in power, we're going to arrest all of you. Like they're not shouting it through a megaphone. But every once in a while, when you pay close attention and you look in between the cracks, there's a Democrat saying, hey, when we win in 2028, we're going to arrest everybody in the Trump administration. We're going to arrest all of Trump's associates. And I see these people, they're telling this to me, and they're like, well, Owen, you want the Democrats to get back in charge? They're going to arrest all of us. You want the Democrats to get back in charge? They're going to arrest Trump. And I'm just sitting here as somebody that's been through it before, and I'm saying, hey, hold on a second. You guys are the ones that are getting the Democrats elected, not me. I'm not the one that's done an about face on all the things that the voters care about. I'm not the president of the United States that's popularity and approval ratings are tanking because he's not delivering on the mandates. That's not me. That's Trump. So if you're concerned about Democrats getting back in power and arresting everybody, maybe you should start barking at the person responsible for the Democrats gaining popularity. It's not me. And I mean, I'll even go a step further because I've been there. Yeah, I'll tell you this. If you're genuinely concerned about the Democrats getting back into power and arresting people, you should be. You absolutely should be. But guess what? Everything that you just witnessed in tonight's election to unseat Massey, that's why Democrats are going to win. And maybe they haven't realized that they're angering conservatives to such a degree. They're disenfranchising young right-wingers to such a degree, they will literally just go vote Democrat to give a big fat middle finger to the Republican Party.
I mean, yeah, that's obvious. You're already seeing a ton of people that are already saying that right now. They'll just take anything and it seems like you've been betrayed or that the people that are supposed to represent you have misrepresented what they're going, what they're going to do. Then oftentimes people will just take literally any opposing force. And sorry, I just got a call there. I lost my train of thought for a minute. But what I'm noticing also is, and this is like an old, it's an old military strategy. It's when your enemy is making tons of mistakes, oftentimes your best offense is to do nothing. And that's why you really aren't seeing really much of anything substantial from the Democratic Party, other than a couple presidential hopefuls are making some noise, but really not even so much. So I think at this point, notice they've really cooled their rhetoric as far as a lot of the woke stuff, a lot of the trans stuff, things of that nature that seem to really push moderates away. So I think you're going to see, like I said, I think a lot of people that previously identified as a Republican, I think a lot of them are going to say, hey, I'm unaffiliated. You're going to see a lot less people that are under 50 years old vote. And you probably will see some people, especially people that voted Republican chiefly out of economic hardship or thinking that things would improve. Many of them will go back. So I even have a friend or two that you've known personally that has got a boat, a Trump flag, the whole 9 yards, who used to give me quite a bit of criticism saying, oh, Trippy, you're too critical. Talked about Israel, this and that. And he even was like, man, all this stuff is pushing me for the first time. I'm kind of going lib, as he would put it. And this is a millionaire, so yeah, I think that we're headed for tumultuous times politically, and it'll be interesting to see how it plays out, man.
Well, let's make a more direct statement here. Republicans aren't picking up any voters. The Republicans are not gaining any new voters in this Trump administration. They're hemorrhaging them. They're losing them faster than you can even count.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. And I think it would have been pretty interesting to see, if it was not an open or if it was not a closed primary, I bet Massey would have gotten hordes of people that decided to go vote for him that maybe either first-time Republican voters or whatever. So, yeah. I agree.
And maybe he decides to re-enter the race and run as an independent. Maybe he could just decide to make that move and really turn the tables on Kentucky 4. Maybe something to keep an eye on. I'll say this in closing, and then we'll get a final word from DMT, and I'm going to open the phone lines. I think that this is the conundrum that somebody like me and probably yourself and a lot of my audience, this is the kind of the conundrum that we're in right now. And, I don't like being put in any political boxes, but for the sake of this conversation, let's say as a young right-wing conservative, I think that we have a serious moral dilemma in front of us as young right-wing patriotic Americans. The moral dilemma we have is this: do I continue to vote for the Republican Party that is actually loyal to a foreign country, even though politically I align more with the Republican Party, even though politically the Republican Party represents more right-wing conservative values that I would align with? It's totally owned by foreign interests. So I think the moral and political dilemma that people like us, like-minded people, are going to have going forward is, can I really vote for a political party that might align with me, but is totally loyal to a foreign country. It's not even an American party. It's an Israel party. Yeah, they align with me politically, but it's not American. It's literally foreign. Or do I have to vote Democrat even though I don't align with like anything that they stand for politically? Like I have nothing in common politically with the far left liberal progressive, but are they more American than Republicans? Is it a more pro-American vote coming up to vote Democrat than Republican, since it's now obvious the Republican is just run by neocon foreign donors and Israel? That's the dilemma. I think that's the political and the moral dilemma that young conservatives like myself and many others are facing. How can we continue to support a party, though it may represent us politically, it represents a foreign country?
You know, I would say that we just need to well, first of all, again, not to reiterate the black pilling, but the truth is I think that normal two-party politics, we're probably not going to get our solution or get back on to the right path through just standard old, good old political support. But I hope that is the case. That being said, I think that to borrow a sports adage, I think that people need to pay more attention to the back of the jersey than the front of the jersey. I think that if you have a person that is running in your state or in your local community that you think is going to represent and protect your interests as a resident of that area, and is not going to be pushed around by whatever forces, industries, lobbies, political pressure, fucking tweets or truth socials, whatever it might be. I am willing to support anyone that I think is going to put my communities first. And in some aspects, sometimes that could be a Democrat. I don't know. I don't care. I just know that continuing to slavishly support someone because of whatever symbol they fucking wear on their suit jacket, it's not doing me any favors. My life isn't getting any better. And honestly, I'm tired of it. And I do think, yes, generally you probably align with one party or another, but I often think that it's used as a tool to divide people. I think there's plenty of good Americans from across the political spectrum that have a decent heart and want to actually help. And I think the more that we open our mind to some of these people that maybe don't agree on everything, but they agree on most of the important things, we probably need to give it a dice roll, because I'm not being served by my representative. I'm not being served by the people that I've, lent my support to that have been Republicans. And so I'm willing to admit that I'm open-minded, and, I hope for the best. But I'm sick of, feeling like you have to be stuck on a plantation and you can't just, choose your candidate without feeling a guilty conscience, or people are going to bully you.
It'll be interesting. I think the pathway has been opened for either a third-party candidate in a presidential run or a combo of a Republican and a Democrat that says, hey, both our parties are corrupt. Neither of our parties represent America's interest. We're going to try to change that on a bipartisan ticket. You might say like a Massey Rokana. That would be probably the highest odds if you're going to see something. I think these are two serious potentials moving forward for 2028. Either a third-party candidate can maybe make a serious run at it, or you're going to have a Republican-Democrat ticket that both represent, hey, our parties are corrupt. We're not proud of that. We want to fix things. We want to put America first, and we're going to do that from a left and a right-wing perspective to move forward. So I think these two things open up, and I'll say this too, and then we're going to go to phone calls. Producer DMT joining us tonight. You're welcome to stick around for phone calls or not. The one thing, get all the politics, get all the wonk out of it. The one thing I think we have to remember too is, we already got the crushing hammer of COVID in Trump's first administration. A lot of Republicans, conservatives want to pretend like Trump didn't crush us economically with the COVID policies, but he did. Trump did he was president for the COVID lockdowns. So I think there's a very high likelihood that with President Trump, we're going to see COVID 2.0. And I don't know if that is going to be a virus, an energy crisis, whatever. I think there's a pretty high likelihood that while Trump is in office, they're going to do another shutdown and they're going to crush this country just as bad as they did with COVID, if not worse, while Trump is in office, because they've already proven they can do it with him in office and he'll willingly go along with it. So aside from the political discussions and debates, I think that's the big concern, is that they're going to do another big event to crush us.
I don't necessarily disagree with that. I will say this, just to give you sort of a silver lining to that. Some sort of black, of course, we all want to avoid like a cataclysmic or, something that causes death or something terrible for society, of course. But I will say, if there is some sort of black swan event, there's some sort of political upheaval that is the same magnitude as COVID, that would be the point where serious political change that is unplanned, that would be the point where someone could rise that has a mindset or a leadership style that you or I might be willing to really support. So, I mean, it's, if you know the old adage from the show Game of Thrones, they say something like chaos is a ladder. And it does present an opportunity in times of uncertainty and political turmoil where movements and grassroots things can actually be born and pick up real momentum. So, I mean, obviously there were some events that happened around COVID that people probably didn't suspect were going to happen. And there was people awfully jazzed up and angry and things like that. So we'll see what happens. As far as trying to predict what could happen that would maybe derail society or a mistake from the Trump administration. Yeah. Rising energy costs, things like that. It's already raised interest rates from 6.29 low in April, and they were 6.75 today. And that's a lot of basis points for a relatively short period of time. So, and obviously the squeezing of energy, they always want to limit people's movement. That's the main thing they do. And that was a main characteristic of COVID. So extremely expensive gasoline or total energy control of the grid where you have to use their energy to power your car. That's their ultimate goal, and probably why they're throwing in the engine switch thing for vehicles manufactured after 2026. So honestly, man, I appreciate you bringing me on. I know every once in a while I can get a little doom and gloom, but I just wanted to give a little dose of realism. I do think that we can ultimately get to a better place as a country. I think we can have a lot of positive growth. I do think we can have future movements, but I think in order to be realistic about where we're going, we have to be realistic about where we're at. And we got a lot of old stupid fucks that are steering the car right now.
Well, and my message is just to the people upset with the results, which, any red-blooded American conservative is the results in Kentucky. This cannot be our moment of flailing and crashing out. Let MAGA own this moment. Everybody sees what this is. Everybody sees what this represents. Let MAGA own this moment. And then you can calmly and respectfully ask them, what did you accomplish? What did you accomplish? Who funded Ed Gallerin? How many deep state arrests are there? How many Epstein pedophile arrests are there? How many no new wars are there? And just force them to own the actual issues that MAGA has and Trump has completely failed on. Just calmly and respectfully force them to answer the questions on the actual issues, not about Massey or Gallerin. Say, hey, congratulations, MAGA. You guys let foreign interests purchase another seat in Congress. You support that now. So you guys are okay with foreign money purchasing Congress seats? Let them own it. That's what I say. Kindly and respectfully, let them own it. Make them answer the questions. And that's what we have to do. So that's all I'm saying. I just don't want to see this. And that's why I'm glad to see that Massey was smiling and jovial tonight, because really that's the look we need to have. It's not about having hopium or copium. It's a strategic look. Let MAGA own this moment, folks. Let them own that they're the globalists. Let them own that they're okay with foreign interests buying congressional seats, and just kindly and respectfully ask them if they're okay with that. Just say, hey, are you okay with no deep state arrests? Are you okay with more wars? Are you okay with continued bloated budget and more debt? Just kindly and respectfully make them own it on the issues, and we'll see where we go from there. All right, DMT, I'm going to open up the phone lines here. Before we do that, you're welcome to stick around if you want, by the way. I'll leave that up to you. You've got control.
I'll probably be back. I got to take care of something real fast, but thanks for having me, man.
Yep. No crash outs here. No crash outs here. But you can go to crashout.energy and get yourself some Crash Out Energy, the official energy drink of the Owen Report. This is my creation, ladies and gentlemen. This is my formula, my creation. Everybody loves it. This is the healthiest energy drink that you're going to find out there. And at the price, there's nothing better, period. So that's what we did. We found the best energy drink, the healthiest energy drink, nootropic, and we basically just undercut everybody else in the market. and it's not even close. Give it a try, crashout.energy. You'll love it. All natural, organic energy and nootropics in one scoop at crashout.energy. All right. Phone lines are already lighting up, but I haven't even turned them on yet. So give me a second here, guys. Okay. Phone lines are now open. 747-255-60, 747-255-60. We are taking calls. Your response to tonight's election result. If you want to respond to the commentary here, if you want to respond to what I'm saying, you want to respond to what DMT is saying, maybe you agree, disagree, whatever, it's all fair game. Let's take some calls on this Tuesday, May 19th, 2026, Owen Report evening transmission. Let's just do that. All right. First caller of the show. What's your name? Where are you from?
Alexander, St. Louis.
Now I see that 636 area code, and I'm wondering if I know you.
You actually do, Owen. I'm a regular on the show as well.
Mm-hmm. How do you feel about tonight's result? You're a dyed-in-the-wool conservative. You were spewing conservative talking points while I was memorizing all the stats for the St. Louis Cardinals in high school. What do you make of all of this?
Yeah, well, first I want to say it was cool seeing the magician behind the curtain, DMT, today. I did want to, before getting into the Massey race itself, want to just throw out there, like, I honestly don't think we need any more regulations when it comes to the markets. We know the elite, the politicians, they never abide by them anyway. And if you look at, like, when there was the flip, it kind of happened in two parts. One, when Massey was kind of signaling a few days out that he wasn't sure if he was going to win. But then after Senator Cassidy, the incumbent, lost his race, it immediately flipped. And I think that was kind of the biggest determining factor when people saw, you know, a 10-year sitting senator that Trump was trying to get out of office lose his race in such a big way. I think then, you know, a lot of this quote unquote smart money went into, you know, to the opposition of Massey.
Well, I'm waiting to see the final numbers here. Gallerin gets 57,000 votes. Massey gets 47,000 votes. That's 96% reporting. So let's say Gallerin ends up with 60,000. You know, I think that this is an example when you have these smaller districts and it's really just, you know, a couple tens of thousands of people that you need to get out and vote, especially when you're targeting, you know, the boomers, the older people. It's way easier to manipulate those results and, you know, force a controlled candidate across the finish line with the propaganda campaign that they ran against Massey. I mean, you can almost give the Republicans credit because this is what the Democrats have mastered, right? I mean, they basically just played the same they just ran the same play that the Democrats run, which is flood the district with money, flood the district with ads, lie about the candidate, make old people scared that if they don't vote for their guy, you know, Massey's going to crush their benefits or, you know, whatever it is. I mean, that's basically what we just saw. The Republicans, or I shouldn't even say that, the Israelis, they flooded Kentucky 4 with money. They flooded it with lies and propaganda against Massey, and it worked. I mean, I give them credit. They took the play out of the Democrat playbook, and it worked for them.
Well, coincidentally, it is, you know, a lot of folks that do run those Democratic campaigns that were behind a lot of this as well.
That's true.
And,
Paul Singer.
Yep. And you know what? It was such a big, massive amount that Massey had to overcome and climb. And of course, they did have that October, quote unquote, October surprise as well. I mean, it was just so dirty what they've done to him with those like last minute, you know, scandals that they dropped, like you said, right out of the Democrat playbook. But I think, look, Massey winning tonight, I think would have been a very symbolic victory, and it would have like gotten us all excited. But ultimately, he would have just been returning as a cog in the wheel. I don't think he really had much potential to be a viable presidential candidate or a governor one day. And so I think unfortunately, long term, though, this may play to our benefit. And by our, I mean people that love, America first, because it's completely, as you said earlier, mask off. And I think it's just going to be fuel to the fire of what people are calling the great noticing. I mean, it was so obvious what was done here.
Yep. No, I that's the same conclusion I'm reaching. And I understand the pain of this right now. I mean, we just got kicked in the nuts. We got punched in the gut, and it hurts. But now they've just opened themselves up. Now they're not guarding their head, and everybody can see it.
Yeah, and I'll just.
Did we lose you?
Oh, no, sorry. I was just going to say, in part, last thing I want to share is, I really liked your suggestion about maybe Massey running as an independent. And I know a lot of, GOP lifers, which I would have considered myself up until fairly recently, will shake and be scared at the concept of almost treason of someone doing that. But let me remind them that Trump, in his very first debate as a GOP candidate, said the same thing. He said if he felt like he wasn't treated fairly in the primaries, that he was going to run as an independent candidate and almost spoil the whole thing for the Republicans. And you know what? I think that might be the best thing that could happen in a situation like this, the best outcome, moving forward.
And as much as I think we would like to see that, just to continue to stick our thumb in the eye of the corrupt establishment, I think that would actually be detrimental long term. I think right now, Massey, take some time off. Take some time off. You got 7 months left. Do as much, damage to the corrupt establishment as you can. Plant some seeds with the big issues that are going to be big in 2028 if you do want to run. Because I feel like if he does the independent route just to thumb his nose to the corrupt establishment, that'll probably hurt him for 2028. Whereas if he just goes back to 7 months in Congress and starts planting seeds against AI, data centers, foreign lobbying, whatever he can, I think that would be better long term. As much fun as it might be to watch him run as an independent and see what happens. I think long-term strategy, it'd be better for him to just go back to Congress, spend his 7 months, plant some good seeds, come back in 2028. Hey, let me do this, though, real quick, for people who would know. Some might know. Alex McCarthy and I have been friends. We've been friends for a long time, Alex. And, boy, we could tell some stories. You probably remember this. There was a point in time, for people that don't understand, in high school, I was, I figured out by my junior year that I wasn't going to be a professional athlete. I wasn't starting on the varsity team, so I figured, probably not an athlete here. So I went into media. I helped launch our high school morning news program that is still running to this day, by the way, Alex. I think you were in that. Weren't you in that class with me, by the way? That was the first TV production class.
No, but I hung around with, it was you and Joe Mueller, a few other folks. KCBC, was it? Yeah,
KCBC, that's right. They still run to this day. But it's funny, it's crazy that they are still running that operation that we started. But what's funnier is, this is what people I think will get a kick out of. I hated politics in high school. I mean, hated it. If people started talking politics, I wanted to get as far away as possible. And do you remember one day, I think we were sitting in, I don't know if you were ever working on the Tourette with me when I was the senior editor, but I was sitting in the room because we were all wandering around senior year, and you came into the room, and I think I was debating with Patrick Olds. You remember Olds?
Yeah.
He was a big GOP guy too. And he was spewing nonsense. He was spewing some nonsense in my ear about politics. I'm trying to write a story about, the soccer team or whatever. And I'm just rolling my eyes. And you came, I think you probably snuck into the room. I think you were skipping class. And you were like, Owen.
Sounds about right.
You were like, Owen, someday you're going to go into politics. I remember it like it was yesterday, sitting at that desk and you came up and you said, Owen, someday you're going to go into politics, I probably wanted to punch you in the mouth, but you ended up being right.
Yeah, that's funny. No, you were always down for a debate on almost any topic, though, you preferred sports, and that's really where a lot of your focus was. And I would always want to be talking politics. And I remember you had said at one point, like, Alex, why do you care so much? You're not going to make a difference. And I was like, Owen, I've talked about not making a difference. Most of the people you're reporting on, these especially professional athletes, will never even, you could have an illustrious career and they won't even know you existed. And you're not going to impact what's going on the courts or on the field. And, I don't recall, maybe what your response was that day, but maybe it planted a seed and quite arguably you're making, a massive difference nationally. And who knows where the ripples will affect, for decades to come, but it's been cool to kind of see this journey and watch it from afar. So,
well, one thing they can never take away from us, we played for the greatest dodgeball team in the history of high school dodgeball. Legendary.
Hands down.
Our team was legend. And we even defeated the great Joe Graff. They thought he was undefeatable. They thought he was invincible with a dodgeball, and we even took him down.
And for folks at home, if you've ever seen the dodgeball movie, there's some, some would say that was inspired by our team, though, I would suggest that maybe that's not the case, but there certainly are a lot of parallels for sure.
I didn't realize, but I think you're right. I think the dodgeball movie was based off the true story of our dodgeball team being back-to-back champions against all odds.
The 5 Ds. Dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge.
This has been fun, Alex. Thanks for calling, man. It's always good to talk to you.
Thanks for doing what you do, Owen. Have a good night.
All right, brother. That's fun for me, guys. That's fun. Good high school friend catching up. All right, next caller. What's your name? Where you're from?
This is MAGA von Villain.
MAGA von Villain?
Yeah, Owen Schroeder's wifey's BFF.
Oh, yes. You guys get along quite well. This is your first time calling. What's on your mind?
It's actually not. I actually called you the first night you had left InfoWars.
Oh, that was like an 8-hour transmission. I apologize for forgetting about that. All right, what's on your mind?
You don't have to remember me. It's cool. It's all right. No, but I was kind of just like kind of pattern recognition, right? Where Ed, didn't really appear to campaign so much as rely on kind of false AI.
Oh, how could I leave that out? Thank you so much. Thank you so much for bringing this up. Ed refused to debate.
That's what it reminds me of.
He refused to debate. He didn't do a debate.
But that's when you know that the fix is in. Because they know, and they feel comfortable, and they don't have to fight because they knew. And I think what needs to be looked at is who is actually running the elections, counting the ballots, supplying. Look who's bought up the election machines. I mean, come on.
Yeah, people are going to talk about that. Nobody has much faith in our elections. I'm not going to take that route. I have no evidence of that. If something,
well, I'm just noticing kind of a pattern. Why would somebody be so comfortable?
Well, I see your point.
Over and over again.
Yeah.
Just like Joe Biden, right?
I do see your point.
It almost feels like Trump made a deal to get into office.
Oh, that for sure happened. Oh, 100% Trump cut a deal to get into office. I don't think there's any debate on that.
I wonder if they came to him like, listen, we run shit. We run the elections. If we let you be the president and back off of all of these investigations.
We can whiz a bullet by your ear. Who knows?
Yeah, well, it almost seems like they've pumped him up to believe he's like some type of biblical figure or prophet or Messiah.
Yep.
But if he is the Jews' Messiah, that would make him our Antichrist. So...
Well, I think they're all just sycophants. I think they're all just sycophants. I think they're all just grifters. I think they're all just greedy bastards. I don't think there's really anything religious or spiritual about them, even in a front.
No, there isn't. I think they're evil. I think they're dark. I think they're demonic. I mean, it tells you in the Bible exactly who they are. Just nobody wants to pay attention.
Well, quite frankly,
it's like
It should
Yeah.
be disqualifying if you refuse to debate. Ed Gallerin should have been disqualified because he refused to debate. And again, this is why MAGA has turned into the biggest fraud movement in American politics today. When Kamala Harris was dodging debates, when Hillary Clinton was dodging debates, when Joe Biden was dodging debates, all of MAGA was screaming. They were ripping their hair out. They couldn't believe, how can you not debate? You coward, you fraud, it's disqualifying. But then when their guy skips a debate, they have nothing to say. Total frauds.
Go try to talk to anybody over the age of 60, and they will freak out if you try to talk about this. They freak out, and they call you, you support Palestine, then you support terrorism. Like, it's like they're freaking out because all they watch is Fox News. See, I think they know that there's more boomers than there is of us because they didn't reproduce as much as their parents did.
Yeah. Well, this is all true. But the
we
younger,
have to play the long game, though.
It is the long game. Yeah. Well,
Right.
and Massey understands that. And it's just true. It's the 50-plus-year-olds that keep voting us into the same problems. And that's what's so strange about it. It's like you can't even talk to these people anymore. They're so gone.
No.
And it's just like, here they are celebrating getting rid of Massey. And it's like, you guys are literally insane. Like, we all agree that the country is corrupt. We all agree that the government is corrupt. Every poll indicates from every different demographic, age group, you name it, everybody agrees that the country is heading in the right direction. And then they keep voting for the same people and the same causes, and they're mad at you because you want to try something different.
Well, it's like, Grandma, you would vote to have my daughter drafted into the war. Well, I won't be alive. It's like they don't give a shit. They got their Tommy Bahama shirts and their pontoon boats, and they will vote their grandkids into war because they literally don't care. I mean, come on, we grew up with boomer parents. They didn't even care if we were inside the house or not.
Yeah,
they had to be reminded they had kids.
And I see the people in the chats, don't blame boomers, don't blame boomers. This isn't about generational warfare.
Oh, no, I'm blaming boomers.
Well,
there should be a boomer camp, and they can play pickleball and have lots of content.
Well, the numbers don't lie. The numbers don't lie. So I don't intend to be insulting of anybody of a certain age group. That's not what the intention here is. Well, you speak for yourself. But the numbers don't lie. And the numbers are that this is what the boomers have done to us politically. And that's why Trump is the boomers' last gasp. And look, I love boomers. I love my parents. I think that boomers are actually probably really good people, probably a good moral people, but it's their run.
Those parents.
It's their run. It's their run of politics that has put us in this position, and they just keep making it worse for us.
Listen, see, for me, down the pipeline, I can see this whole, because if you look, they're doing this whole anti-Semitism task force, and they're going to start cracking down. Look, guys, this is going to be used to get you to deny Jesus Christ. Okay? That's what it's going to be used for. That's the time we're in right now, guys. They're taking it over. They're becoming more and more open about it. Anybody say anything mean about them, we're probably all going to get knocks on our doors after tonight. Okay?
Huh.
You got Gorka licking his little lamb chop.
Oh,
pound.
don't. Please. It's rough enough. Please don't bring up Gorka. I can't do Gorka. It's too bad.
Gorka.
Oh. The
Gorka.
foreigner, the literal foreigner that celebrates online censorship. Oh, my gosh.
Well, and Trump just retracted having to prove your citizenship at a bank to get a bank account.
Oh, that's nice. Thank you, Trump. That's so MAGA.
So I think he ran on things that we cared about and then did a complete 360 when he got in, because that is what he was tasked to do. And then making himself infallible, exempting himself from the IRS. Like, why the hell are we paying taxes? Do you understand, even if just our generation said, we're not paying taxes anymore, F you, they'd be in a lot of trouble.
And you know what else is funny? They'll come after you harder than anybody that went to Epstein Island.
Oh, they already have, Owen.
You miss
I
a
had
penny.
my home raided. My 7-year-old daughter, who was 7 at the time, had flash grenades thrown at her.
Yeah.
Because
That's what
of
you get.
January 6th.
That's what you get. That's what you get for being a patriotic American. But you go to Epstein Island and do God knows what. We're going to let you off the hook. No big deal. So that's just how it goes. Hey, thank you for the call. Glad you got through. Next caller. What's your name? Where you're from? Next caller going once.
Hi. Hi, Owen.
Yes.
I'm from South Carolina, and I spoke to you when you first started your show in September. I think I called in, and I had worked for Trump when I was in college, and I was like, how badly we got sold as a Trump supporter. Not even a supporter, but I voted for him, and I feel like we lost big time, and it's super disappointing and sad. And I've been tuning in when I can. And I heard you today talking about the loss, and I was a little bit more hopeful because I really felt like crying when I heard about the Massey loss. And I was more on DMT, black pills, like what's going on. And I just think, though, that we've got to stop talking about like Democrats, Republicans, and just human beings. It's like they're greedy, they're immoral, they're unethical, on and on and on. And it's not about the people, it's about our system and corrupt politicians. Yeah, you'll get a Joe Kent, you'll get a Thomas Massey, somebody good, but the more we argue with one another, the more the corrupt politicians win.
Well, that's true.
And our system doesn't get fixed. So
That's true.
a long time ago, I wrote this. I'm going to read it to your audience, and hopefully it will resonate with just being a human being. And I wrote, I'm not a Republican nor a Democrat. I'm simply a human being awaiting for all humans to come into being human. And I think that we have to be just good people and fight the good fight, and eventually good will win. So thank you for all you do, and I appreciate the humanity, the ethical, all you've done, and we've got to keep going. We've got to believe in good people, whether they're Democrats or Republicans.
So let me ask you a question before we let you go here. Can I just ask you a quick question?
Yes.
Did foreign lobbyists and interests just buy a congressional seat in Kentucky?
Oh, yeah.
All right, that's it. That's it. It's very simple. See how easy that was for you to answer?
Yeah.
That was really easy for you, wasn't it?
Yeah, very easy. It's
very easy.
It's tragic.
Yeah.
Well,
we all know it's tragic. The reason I ask is here's what we're going to witness now in the coming hours and maybe for a couple days even. You're going to watch people deny it. You're going to watch people say, no, there was no foreign interest that bought this seat. This was MAGA. There's no foreign money that bought this seat. And we're just going to sit there with our jaws to the ground like, wow, you're just gone. You just have no idea. It's the equivalent of Joe Biden is sharp as a tack. It's the equivalent of whatever other complete bullcrap that liberals and progressives would believe and try to sell to other Americans. Anybody that wants to deny that foreign interests and foreign money just bought this race for Gallerin, they're just liars. So just be honest. That's my problem with MAGA. Just be honest. Just be honest. If you're okay with foreign money and foreign interest and foreign donors buying congressional seats, then just say so. Just explain why you like it and be honest about it. At least then you would have integrity. The problem is they can't be honest about it because then they would have to admit that they're total sellouts. So instead they turn into complete liars instead of admitting they're just sellouts.
Oh, well, there goes the, immoral, greedy people as opposed to people trying to do good for the majority. And what is, honoring false gods? What's the false god? It's money. And yeah, if you love what you do and it happens to get you to a comfortable place in life, but what about giving back? It's almost unbelievable how lost humanity has become. And that's why AI is really dangerous too, because, what are we going to do if people don't like one another anymore or are always fighting with one another? And robots, I worked in tech as well, and I can't tell you how many things I had to fix from computer mistakes and tech mistakes because, the computer knew better. No, they really don't. So, I understand what you're saying, like MAGA and thinking, they're doing exactly what Trump did to everybody who believed everything he said, or at least some of the things. I told you I would have voted for a toad if they said no war, because killing anybody is just not right. It's not spiritual. It's not, it's wrong. I mean, hitting somebody, hurting someone, it's wrong. So how is war okay? Like, that is such an unevolved way of thinking. And I don't understand how we as and everyone's like, well, it's gone on for histories. Well, that doesn't make it okay. That doesn't make it okay. So how many people are going to do that? Well, lots, obviously, but I can't support anybody who
well,
gets
you know what? Let me just say
anybody.
this. I think that the problem we have in our world, and thank you for the call, and this is why I emphasize socializing so much, going out and having a social life. And people say, oh, it's, you're a normie, whatever. You go to a ball game, you go to a concert, you go out with friends. You need that, quite frankly. You need to stay in touch with that because, and this is why I say when I observe all of these other political commentators, the ones in D.C. are the worst, but it's like when I follow the commentary of all the different figures and pundits and everything in politics, and sometimes I just scratch my head. I'm like, do you have any friends? And it's not like a mean thing, like, oh, you're a loser or something. I mean, some people just don't have a social life. Some people just don't have friends. They don't go out. They don't have a social life, and they just live in these political bubbles. Because from my experience, and I'm not going to say I have the most active social life, but I've got a pretty normal social life. I've got a pretty big group of friends. They're good people. People are still good people. And even if you do disagree with politics, which I find quite rare these days, most people seem to have a pretty good grasp on what's going on politically, whether on the left or the right. People are still good people. That's my experience. If I go somewhere and socialize tonight, a bar, a ball game, a concert, whatever, my gym, people are good. People are good people. They just want to live free, and they want the corrupt government off their backs. They just don't know, they just don't have the information, the means and mechanisms to figure it out, and maybe none of us do. But I don't think it's that bad. I think in the political world it's that bad because politics is so corrupt and it's filled with greedy bastards and sellouts and everything else in between and worse. Most people are just good people. Most people are good people that just want to live their lives, keep their head above water, aim for freedom and prosperity as best as they can. And they pretty much see the same thing that anybody sees. The whole political system is corrupt. All politicians are liars. And it just keeps getting worse, and nobody represents us anymore. So I'm not as black-pilled on people. I think people are still good. But you want to talk about politics? It's like the worst people seem to end up in politics. Thank you for the call. Next caller, what's your name, where you're from?
Hey, it's Willie San Diego. How are you, Owen?
All right, Willie, what's up?
Hey, just to clarify something, no. Thomas Massey or any other candidate cannot run as an independent for another party or the same party in a general election because they have something called the sore loser law. So forget Thomas running again this time, but I think it's pretty rich that Thomas Massey voted against lockdowns, mandates, corporate bailouts, foreign wars, gun control, government surveillance, big pharma immunity, government control of your car, and wasteful spending. And these people didn't like that, I guess.
You know what's amazing about what you just did? What you just did is you removed the politician and you inserted the issue. Because here's what would happen. Let's say you had some MAGA sycophant sitting across the table from you, and whatever, they're big Gallerin supporters, whatever, they do whatever Trump tells them to do. Trump tells them to suck a turd. They say which one. So if you and a Trump diehard sycophant are sitting across, and I'm just asking questions, and I would say, hey, Do you guys think the COVID lockdowns and mask mandates and vaccine mandates were bad? Both of you would say yes. Now, when I would say, Massey was the one that pushed hardest against that, it's like it wouldn't even matter. You bring up all of these different issues, the bank bailouts, all on the issues, on the actual issues, the individual Trump supporter would side with Thomas Massey probably 100% of the time. 100% of the time. Remove the names, remove the politicians, and just say, how do you feel about mask mandates? Not good. How do you feel about bank bailouts? Not good. How do you feel about the government being able to spy on you in your car? Not good. Congratulations, you're a Massey supporter. Oh, but I voted Gallerin. I don't like Massey. He's a fake conservative. It's like, that's how the brainwashing works right there. And we just watched MAGA brainwash tens of thousands of people.
Yeah, Owen, it's really, and I'm in my early 70s, and I've been fighting like hell to try to shake some of my contemporaries and convince them, hey, don't vote against your own wishes, dude. You're arguing for your limitations. And to see what happened with all of the ridiculous True Social posts that came out, and the scandal, and the fact that they had to send Hegseth down there, which I think your producer was talking about. That's the Hatch Act. And we really should pursue it. And
well, this
I think Massey has a great future.
I have to wonder, too, because this administration is totally lawless, just as lawless, if not more, as the Biden administration. Thank you for the call. I wonder why they believe they're going to get away with it. I mean, it's so strange that they believe they're going to get away with it. And to me, that's almost the most concerning thing. If they really think they can get away with all of this, that means that they either know something is going to happen and there essentially is no political system after that, or they all work for the same establishment, Democrats, Republicans, and now they all are above the law. So that is a weird point that, they're sitting here just openly violating all of these different laws, and they seem to have zero fear that there's going to be any repercussions. That's kind of concerning, if you ask me. Next caller, what's your name? Where are you from?
Hey, Owen, it's Tay-Tay from Florida.
What's up, Tay-Tay?
Just got back from a fishback rally.
Yeah, I was going to say, where were you guys at tonight?
Voodoo Brewing in downtown St. Pete.
All right. Did you see the
awesome.
latest poll that Byron Donalds is trailing a Democrat?
Oh, yes.
Yikes.
I know. That's why I'm going to get Fishback in August.
What else is on your mind?
What else is on my mind? I'm just driving in the rain, calling you.
Well, thank you for the call. Okay. Next caller, what's your name? Where are you from?
Hey, it's Water Snob Sam White from Bozeman, Montana.
What's up, Sam?
Hey, man, I love my Cove Pure.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I was going to call on, I didn't want to chime in with all this Massey massacre, but it's so apparent and so easy to see, and like, just, I don't know, you think a little bit, you go like, really? They can elect my dog as like congressman if they got enough money.
That's
and
true.
It just drives me crazy.
I know. It's true.
But I initially wanted to call in about the Hatch Act with Hegseth. I thought that was, am I constantly disappointed by his appointees, like whether it's Bongino or Cash or Hegseth?
I think you're rightfully disappointed, but I think we need to be accurate about the phenomenon happening. These are all yes men. And I think they might even be going against their own morals or ethics at times, but they're yes men, they're loyal to Trump, and so they do this stuff, and Trump just probably bullies them into it and says, oh, don't worry about it, we're above the law.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, hey, settle down. Don't ever name your dog Thunder. Anyway, shut up. I just can't help feel that slight despair with, how's the State of the Union? The State of the Union is great. Like,
what do
I
you
don't think
mean?
so.
What's wrong, Sam? What are you talking about? You mean you don't like foreign lobbyists purchasing Congress? What's wrong? You don't like that? That's MAGA. That's MAGA. What's wrong? You don't love record high debt? You don't love inflation going up? You don't love it? Come on. What's wrong with you, Sam? Get on board, Sam. We don't like conservatives like Thomas Massey. No, we don't like people that expose Epstein pedophiles. No, that's not what we like. MAGA is all about protecting the Epstein class and working for the Epstein class as much as we can. That's what it's all about. But we got a surprise for you. It's called war. You may have heard of it. We love it. Everybody in D.C. loves it with our insider trading. In fact, I am now the best trader in the history of politics. I've made more money trading stocks as president than anybody else combined. It's me, number one, Donald Trump, basically scamming and scheming and deceiving everybody. And the people still fall for it. You saw it. I could tell them to vote for a turd, and they would do it. They'd run out and vote for a turd. I'd tell them to eat it afterwards. They'd get a fork and a knife and shove it in their mouth afterwards, too. That's MAGA, baby. And if you don't like that, you're a panikin and a doomer. And even though nothing is really changing and we're not fixing the country, all we have to do is say golden age, and these people cheer. It's really amazing.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes.
Oh, boy.
That's the truth. That's the truth. Everybody knows it, I keep hearing this Hatch Act. I said, what's a Hatch Act? No idea. Never heard of it. Really don't care. I said, Pete, we're going to put this war on pause. I said, Pete, what's going on with a war? Is the strait open or closed? Is there a ceasefire? I really have no clue. Not a clue what's going on with the war. Kind of got embarrassed a little bit in China. Nobody noticed. That's okay. So I said, Pete, we need you. There's a war in Kentucky. There's a war in Kentucky, Pete. We need you to go down to Kentucky, and we need to get rid of Thomas Massey. And Pete got a little insolent. I didn't like it. And Pete said, but sir, Thomas Massey is very popular. But sir, Thomas Massey has the highest conservative review and the highest liberty score. But sir, Thomas Massey is very popular. I said, I don't care. Get him out of there. He almost embarrassed me with the Epstein list. And he won't rubber stamp all the pork and all the swamp activity that we love here in D.C. I said, Pete, you got to get down there. And he said, but sir, what about the Hatch Act? I said, you can Hatch Act my ass, Pete. You better get down there or you're going to be out of a job. And so he got down there. He might have broken the law. I don't care if he goes to jail, quite frankly. That's on him. Not me. He'll have to deal with that. Not me. Next caller, what's your name? Where you're from?
What's that?
What's your name? Where you're from?
Oh, sorry. I'm Jason out here in California.
All right, Jason.
Hey, no, this whole thing is just ridiculous. Massey had 80% up until just recently, and then all of a sudden it dumps to 45 overnight practically.
I don't get it. Okay, I don't get it. Why don't you guys like foreign interests and foreign donors running your country? I don't get it. What do you think? You have a sovereign country? What do you think, that Israel can't just buy any seat they want? What, have you been asleep? You ever heard of AIPAC?
No.
Come on, man.
Yeah, no kidding, right. Yeah, I mean, it's so obvious. I don't see why we can't allow other countries to have PACs. I mean, we should actually, why can't we sue the government for only allowing one country?
Oh, yeah. It's so funny you asked that. I don't think any other countries want PACs. I think Israel is the only, no, I'm dead serious. I think Israel is the only country that operates as Israel operates. Israel is the only country that will, the Israelis will leave their country. They'll tell you how it's the chosen land and they all love Israel and it's the best thing. And then they all leave. And then they all go to other countries and then they ruin those countries, and then they go back to Israel and decide, where are we going to go next? No other country does that. No other country decides we're all going to leave, go steal and deceive an entire nation of people, and then we're going to leave. No other country does that. It just doesn't exist.
Well, that's not actually true. Mexico does that, but they don't go back.
Well, that's
So I
different.
guess
Those are just Mexicans. We're talking about Mexicans. We're not talking about the Mexico pack. Mexico's not buying any seats in Kentucky.
Yeah. And to say that none of this has to do with religion is absurd, because, I mean, all you got to do is read history. I mean, heck, if one thing was the major thing that pushes this type of thing, it's religion. But, you know, I don't think it's religion. I think religion is more or less something to hide behind. I think this time it's literally just power. Well, I guess religion was just power too, but hey. But I mean, it is a tale as old as time, but this is kind of, you know, freedom isn't free. If you're not fighting for it every day, literally fighting for it every day, you're going to lose it. And this is just a prime example of that. And I don't know if we were conditioned to be this way. I'm sure we were. I'd like to think humanity isn't that stupid, but, you know, sometimes I guess that's the real black pill. And
I think, well, I'll let you, I'll let that comment lie, but I think this is what's so frustrating. It's like we all know how corrupt the system is, and we're all sick of it. And this is where my gripe with MAGA is. It's like, look, I'm not in a cult. You guys can have your own political opinions. I can have a debate. I can have a disagreement on policy or success. Like, that's all good. That's all fine. My gripe with MAGA is very basic. Nothing is changing. It's like the whole thrust of getting Trump in, the whole purpose of ramming our heads against the corrupt establishment to get Trump in was to change the corrupt system, was to actually have significant and palatable reform of our country. And it's just not happening. And so, hey, that's fine. You can say, well, I didn't vote for that. I think America's great now. Okay, why? Because the Republicans in charge? That's it? Like, nothing changes. You're still paying the same taxes. You're still more surveillance, more microtransactions, less money, everything else, less sovereignty, less freedom. It's like nothing is getting better. And it's like this weird cult where it's like, oh, if the Democrats in, things are great. Oh, if the Republicans are in, things are great. And I'm just sitting here staring at MAGA. I'm saying, where's the change? Where is the change? Where is the country getting better? Where is the American life getting better? Where are our inner cities getting better? Where are our metropolitan areas getting better? Where is our new infrastructure getting better? Where are we improving anything? Where are we getting government out of our lives? Where are we going back to constitutional values? Where are we going back to self-government? Where are we actually fixing the corrupt system? And it just doesn't exist. It just doesn't exist. So, hey, you want to support Trump and say Republicans are better than Democrats and go along as the country continues to collapse, that's fine, but that's my gripe. Don't pretend like you're supporting an agent of change. Don't pretend like you're somehow looking for a peaceful political solution to our corrupt establishment and then nothing changes. That's been the biggest fraud of them all. Trump being a politician and lying to us, Trump being a politician and acting just like every other politician before him, it almost doesn't even matter. We're used to it. It's the people that pretended like they wanted to save the country. It's the people that pretended like they were in it to send a change agent to Washington, D.C. It's the people that would sit here and tell you every single day how corrupt our government is, and yet they don't care that their guy does nothing about it. That's my gripe with MAGA. So if you want to support the different policies and all the different, weird stuff, the political footballs, don't sit here and tell me that Trump is saving the country. It's not happening. There is no agent of change. There is no political revolution to save this country. The country continues to go the same direction, which is the wrong direction, which every American polled agrees. That's my gripe with MAGA. You guys want to be in a political cult? Fine. You guys want to support party politics and the left-right paradigm? Fine. Don't sit here and tell me that you care about the country. Don't sit here and tell me you're a flag-waving American patriot that wants to save the country. Don't sit here and complain about how corrupt the country is, and then you guys don't demand the changes that we need to save it. That's my biggest gripe with MAGA. And so until I see something like that, until I actually see real institutional change in D.C., until I actually see the captain of this ship turn it around and make it go in the right direction, I don't want to hear about your, patriots saving the country from Democrats, saving the country from this, saving the country from the left and the woke and the DI. None of that's happening. None of it. Okay? None of it, MAGA. And this recent election of Gallerin is the total proof that you guys are now the swamp. And you guys are now the corrupt establishment. So let me know when you guys actually want to save the country. Let me know when you guys actually want to fix things. Let me know when you guys are sick of paying 30% of the money you make in taxes. Let me know when you're ready for self-government. Let me know when you're ready for independence. Let me know when you're ready for cheap energy. You guys let me know. But as long as you guys are stuck in the left-right paradigm and the political cult, nothing is going to change. It's going to continue to get worse. And that's what I'm sick of. And so are most Americans. All right. Let's take one more call. We'll take one more call for the night. Last caller, what's your name? Where are you from?
Elijah from Rome, Georgia.
All right, Elijah, go ahead.
So, I think just like everybody pretty disheartened from all of this, but I think something that's kind of been underrated in all this has kind of been these AI-generated ads that showed him in the throuple and how that's going to influence just our politics across the country going forward. I feel like we really need to get a grip on that on top of everything else that all the other callers and you have been talking about.
Isn't it funny? Again, it's just this MAGA is just so pathetic. Oh, Thomas Massey got remarried. How many wives has Trump had? Oh, Thomas Massey had sex with a woman. Oh, and Trump hasn't? It's just I'm so sick of the double standards. I'm so sick of the fraud.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. The same accusations that got leveled. And it's like we were all on board with not believing all women and giving credible accusations their right time. But then when it comes to Thomas Massey, we're exactly where the Democrats were and Kavanaugh and all of this. And it's just hypocrisy.
It's like, how can it's almost unfathomable. They see the fake claims right before an election of Trump. They recognize it as propaganda. They see all the claims against Kavanaugh right before the confirmation hearings. They recognize it as propaganda. And then they run the exact same script against Thomas Massey, and they all believe it, and they all push it. It's pathetic.
Yeah, it is ridiculously pathetic. And it just kind of underscores that there is no underpinning value system or ideology. It's just partisanship, plain and simple.
Well, we just witnessed it, man. We just witnessed it to a degree that we maybe have never seen before. And that's kind of been my message. And I understand, believe me, I understand why people are upset. I understand why people are doom and gloom and feeling depressed watching another congressional seat get bought by foreign interest and the donor class. It's very depressing. That's how our country is run now. But I think we have to see the other side, which is more people now get to recognize how corrupt our political system is. More people can watch this and see, oh, okay, so we can take a popular conservative, maybe the only conservative left in Congress, and all we have to do is get tens of millions of dollars from foreign lobbyists and foreign donors, and we can just buy congressional seats. Everybody watched it. Everybody saw it. So, yeah, it sucks. That's how corrupt our government is, but that's how corrupt it's been. Now more people can see it as plain as day, probably more so than we've ever seen, I would say. All right. Let's go to our super chats. We got a lot of super chats tonight. So let's start to pile drive through all of our super chats. All right. Starting with Dust Vault. We all saw the 4 a.m. Biden vote Viagra straight line up. Did we really think they'd let Massey win when both the left, right, and Uniparty are prostitutes, want the Epstein puppet? We had no chance. Well, look, people are not going to trust any election result. So, yeah, you can't really push back on that. I don't know. I'm not calling foul play in that election, but I don't blame anybody for not trusting any election. So this was the Mar-a-Lago raid moment for Massey. Well, I hope Massey has good security. Yeah. We all know how that goes. Ivan, I'm so angry right now. Israel bought another effing seat from a real American, regardless of his politics. Ro Khanna is next on the chopping block. First, they're going to go after Lauren Boebert. Yeah, I mean, it's Israel. It's the Congress of Israel. It's not the United States Congress. It's the Congress of Israel. Oh, my gosh, don't say that. Okay, keep living in denial. Keep living in denial. I admire your hopes on a political solution, Owen. Well, I don't know if I'm selling a political solution as much as I'm just telling you political awareness is rising after these results. I mean, we all want a political solution. It'd be nicer that way. But with every stolen election, with every foreign bought and paid for congressional seat, we start to lose hope. Don't worry, guys. We'll get them at 2028. Could be pure sarcasm. I don't know. Alan, thank you, Owen. We are from Mesopotamia land. We support the good men like Thomas Massey and Dan Bilzerian. From Mesopotamia. John Franzen, I'm disgusted. I will never vote again until there is a third party consisting of anti-woke left like Jimmy Dore, libertarians like Dave Smith, and principled conservatives like you, all in one party. Maybe inevitable. It's tough to herd that and get a political result in an election, but it seems like that is an inevitable coalition building after MAGA got co-opted and sold out. How you describe this world now, we describe the world as real evil until his kingdom, Jesus, comes and done and will have no end. Slice Man, Massey is far from done. He will be a leader in the resistance. Well, they already are talking about 2028, so... And he definitely has national support, bipartisan. Transpartisan from Pine Nuts. Transpartisan. Pine Nuts, Pine Cone. Hey, now. Trans, Pakistani American. We are occupied by a foreign country and corporations, period. Never been more obvious. Ken Rose, America first, America only, America forever. Let's hope. Let's hope. Not if MAGA has its way. It'll be Israel forever, and America will die, but that's MAGA. I was so bummed when MTG resigned. Now I realize that was a good decision. The corruption of the political system would have smashed her too. I had the same thought, and that's why I'm looking at Massey's response tonight with the attitude, and I'm saying that's the right attitude. This administration is gone. The season is over. They're totally sold us out. They're playing for the other team. So it's like, get out and see what you want to do in the future, but you can't really do anything in there anymore, except just get destroyed by the corrupt system. Expose. The wheels came off the roller coaster and MAGA loosened the bolts. Loosened the bolts or just crowbarred us right off the track? His Riz balls dropped tonight. Massey 2028. You'll be hearing a lot of that. Owen Jones Schroyer, not voting for anyone under 40. That's one approach. I don't know if that's the best, but a lot of people will relate. Let them eat shit. Exactly. That's from the earlier rant. Yeah. All your base belong to Zog. Well, all of Congress does. It's some guy. Only thing that changed is my hatred for boomers. We don't hate boomers. Come on now. ELE. Owen, you were right. I am being severely heckled by my few friends still in the cult. I know. If you don't realize I'm right today, you might tomorrow, but eventually you will. Yeah. Wifey, midterms are so jover for MAGA now. Are you going to be voting Democrat, wifey? It's all right. You can be honest. It's okay. Democrats have to run the table in midterms to open up a lane for Massey. Fuentes is right. It's one approach. But I don't even look at it. I mean, you can try to get into the strategic nature of how people want to vote in the midterms. I think it's the dilemma I was talking about earlier. It's like Do I vote with the Republican Party that's just loyal to the donor class and the foreign interests? Or do I vote for the Democrats that I have nothing in common with politically, but they're not as sold out to a foreign country and the donor class as the Republicans? And people will say, oh, yes, they are. Yes, they are. Well, not right now. So that's just the current reality. Robert, Dominion voting machine has servers in Israel. Is that true? Are those Dominion machines in Kentucky? Regalia, Melissa Strange will be AIPAC Ed's opponent in November. I've supported Republicans solidly since 1992, but will happily donate to her campaign. AIPAC Ed, that's a good one. Melissa Strange. Boy, if Democrats win Kentucky, if that isn't the biggest repudiation of AIPAC and MAGA, I don't know what is. But they did it to themselves. In other words, I look hot tonight. I'm not even trying. Imagine if I tried. Stephen Miller wears a tiny hat. For all of those not all tiny hats people. Oh, my gosh. Ugh. F it. Acceleration mode. Massey said it himself. It is God's will. NASA, what's the difference between a Democrat and a Republican? Exactly. One stabs you in the back, one stabs you in the front. Clown world to shit sandwich world. They're coming in hot tonight. Trump MAGA shit mountain is just a bunch of CIA influencers pissing on our backs, telling us it's rainbow skittled flavored piss. I just don't get it, is what I'm saying. I just what are we celebrating? Congratulations. You guys ousted one of the lone conservatives in Congress. What are you celebrating? What did you accomplish? Congratulations. You just let the foreign lobbyist buy another congressional seat. I just don't get what the celebration here is. I just don't get it. It's just a total cult. Trump said, you want this? So they say, I want this. That's literally it. Gideon. Who needs a border wall when you bring in millions of Indian H-1B and let foreign UAA citizen Kevin O'Leary build gigantic data centers? Hey, don't forget about all the Chinese students we need to prop up the corrupt college system. 5.3 LSX. Never voted Democrat, but I'm voting Democrat in 2026 as an FU. There'll be a lot of those, and maybe an overwhelming amount. MAGA was always globalist. That's why it had Q attached to it. It has always been a CIA Mossad operation. It's all fake and gay. The new movement. I'm in. More DMT content. DMT with a shout out. Neocons would rather eat a literal shit sandwich than admit they were wrong about Trump and the Republican Party. I think I could explain. Let me explain this because I was thinking about this before. And, because I talk to Democrats, liberals, whatever, conservatives. And I think we had someone earlier in the chat, and I get this a lot when I'm just out with people, and they say, wow, you were right. You were one of the first people. And I might have been one of the first people that they heard, but there were plenty of people that realized Trump had sold us out, some before me. And they'll come up to me and they'll say this, be like, wow, you really nailed it last year. I doubted that it would be this bad, but it really is this bad. Well, let me explain this phenomenon. And this is why, whether you want to say me or others were ahead of the curve and this new MAGA cult hasn't figured it out yet, it's because they haven't been there since the beginning. We've been with Trump since 2015, and we watched the first administration come and go with a bunch of promises and a bunch of teasers, and then all we got was a COVID shutdown and a stolen election. So now Trump gets inaugurated again. We don't have the tolerance or the patience to sit here and wait and see. We don't have that. Sorry, it's like storming like crazy right now. I didn't even realize it. Damn storm disrupted me. So my point that I was making, we already went through the first administration riding or dying with Trump. Everybody joined MAGA in 2024 after the disaster that was Joe Biden. They weren't paying attention to the first Trump administration. They don't understand what we understood. So we understood we got 4 years to fix this or we're screwed. And after a couple months went by and we realized, wow, nobody's really trying to fix this, it was easy to see where it was going and it was easy to call it out. Whereas the people that just joined MAGA 2024 or 2020, they're just going to figure this out in about a year or two. It'll be about a year or two, and then the rest of MAGA will figure out you're not getting anything. We were just ahead of the curve because we've been there a lot longer. I kind of got disrupted in my train of thought with this crazy storm that just hit, but well, I'll just go with your. Let me make it simple from Mr. MK Ultra. Neocons would rather eat a literal shit sandwich than admit they were wrong about Trump and the Republican Party. I spoke too much. I'm going to leave it at that. I like your summarization better. Demoralization, like Yuri Bezmenov said in the 80s. Wotan, there is no voting our way out of this. Hello Kitty. OMG, I am so distraught and sad. There is a level of vote machine cheating. We all know the Juice are phenomenal at cheating. The Juice earned every single yard he rushed for in the NFL. Come on. There's no cheating there. There's no cheating there. Damn, this storm really hit like crazy. Boomers want the youth to die for Israel. Draft time. That's what will start the revolution. You think they might try? Trump got rejected on it, but that's not going to stop him from trying again. Everyone who was photographed campaigning with Gallerin was one slip and fall in the shower from not voting today or ever again. Boomer City. If Russia put $30 million behind Gallerin, then Gallerin would be in handcuffs tonight. Or Iran or Qatar or anybody else. There's only one country that gets to do that. Political solutions have failed. Time to get frosty or lose your rights to Zog. Well, that message might have been few and far between a few years ago. Now it's going to be very common. Fishback rally, St. Pete, Florida. Awesome turnout. Fishback becomes Florida governor. Florida secedes from the union. Some wishful thinking. DMT crash out of the day and totally right from Brizzy. I can't let DMT outshine me. This could be a punishable offense. Focus our attention at the local level. We can only control what we can control. Live in love, not fear. We must rise above this beast system. And that's also why I don't want to be discouraging tonight. And I know a lot of times political commentary, myself included, can seem downtrodden, doomer, black pill, whatever you want to say. That's not who I am. I am a positive person. I love life. I want you to love life. The truth is politics is corrupt and disgusting and dark, and that's just the nature of doing political commentary. But that's not how I want you to leave. I want you to love your life. I want you to enjoy life. I don't want you to live like that with this doomer cloud over your head. That's just the political world. And it's almost as if you let that crush your spirit, if you let that crush your hopes, then it wins without even having to try. So you can't let it happen. Stop paying unconstitutional federal income taxes. No argument here. DMT is cooking. More DMT love. That's it. He's done. He's banned from the show. 10 million enslaved, 330 million from Tate's. Well, if you know, you know. Eric, it's only on the brink of destruction do people find the will to change. Only at the precipice will people evolve. You're both right. The crisis point is approaching. Come together or it's over. A lot of truth in that, Eric. Trump doing nothing even remotely right-wing. I know, I love this attack. Oh, you're a liberal. You're on the left now. Show me one policy I support that's left-wing. Show me one policy I support that's liberal. You can't. Trump, on the other hand, good luck. Yeah, Trump is more liberal than what are we going to call it? The Panikins. Trump is more of a liberal than Panikins, politically. Jim Graves. Both parties are ran by, don't be fooled. Yeah, well, okay. Yeah, Audra. Does our vote matter at all? If not, because of neocon foreign donors or left-wing judges blocking policies the majority voted to have enforced, I give up and don't intend to vote moving forward. Onward. That disenfranchisement running rapidly through our country because of this. Somebody needs to design one of those old school bumper stickers with Trump pissing on MAGA merch, like piss on Ford Chevy from the 90s. I'd buy several shirts. I bet it's already out there. Maybe take a look. You can probably find it. Obama phone. Staying home until 2026 midterms. Totally wouldn't blame folks for voting Democrat, though. These cult members need to be defeated and have no one. You know, look, I don't think retribution or revenge voting is a good strategy, but I certainly don't blame you for feeling that way, and I certainly won't hold it against anybody for doing it. Totally understandable. And maybe you can justify it at this point. The only thing conservatives want to conserve is their own delusion. Well, they're damn good at that for now. Did Trump capture Maduro to hack voting machines? Huh. Does anybody actually believe that? That was kind of a Q thing. So where are we at with Q? Is Q still a thing? Iron Lunatic. MAGA is the new woke. Amen. A former Democrat friend voted for Trump this past election. I told him hell must have frozen over. He's MAGA full weetard now. Good Lord. We're in the twilight zone. No, we're in the clown world. It's the clown world. MAGA Vaughn equals sister, wifey, baddie. Do we need to have a throuple night, guys? I'm okay with it. Let's have a throuple. We need chat polls. Where you at, DMT? Finally, some DMT scolding. It's about damn time. Oh, and quit lumping us Gen X with boomers. Gen X votes principle over party. When was I lumping anybody with anything? I'm lumping MAGA with woke. DMT cooks. Heavy on facts. Zero BS. Heat. Golly gee. Good night. Good night. I like late night Owen. Well, everybody knows that. Owen report after dark.